Hello everybody, welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube and Twitch channels. It is Tuesday and we are back with some videos to react to, and including I even found a Can Polly video. Isn't that amazing? Even though the House of Commons is not in session right now, the former leader of the Conservative Party, Andrew Scheer, put a video out on his own YouTube channel and I grabbed it. So we're going to watch that later on. But yeah, we've got a bunch of things to watch today. I found something from Kira TV on Sweet Baby, so I grabbed that to see if he's got some other things that we haven't heard. And we'll just make our way through what we've got. And like I said, I hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday morning. I hope you guys have your coffees ready. And we're going to have fun. I'm sorry I didn't stream last night. I apparently needed a whole bunch of sleep because I went to bed at like 10. And my sleep tracker says I slept for like 8 hours or something crazy like that, with a sleep quality of like 80-something%. So apparently I needed a bunch of sleep. So I apologize for not streaming on Twitch last night with Mortal Kombat. I will be back tonight. But right now, we're going to do our coffee stream. We're going to have a good time here. So I think what we'll do is we will start. We'll start by, I will pull up the only article that I have here before I share my screen with you guys. But I don't know if anybody heard. Well, I'm sure you guys have heard that the Key Bridge has been struck by a freighter or a container ship. So I'm just gonna pull up the article talking about that, because that's pretty big, and I would not be doing my due diligence as somebody who covers news as if I didn't read this and cover it. So let's get that up before we share the screen. I didn't want my Twitter DMs to be shown. Okay, here we go. Live scene. Perfect. Okay. So this was updated. So this has been updated. So Baltimore bridge collapses after ship strikes it. Rescuers search for several people. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a recovery. 2 people were rescued from the water, with 1 sent to hospital in unknown condition. Well, considering that it's March in Maryland, it's probably going to be a bit cold, at least. A major bridge in Baltimore snapped and collapsed after a container ship rammed into it on Tuesday, and several vehicles fell into the river below. Jesus Christ. That's terrifying. Can you imagine you're just driving along and you're like, oh, look, there's a ship underneath me. Oh, it's doing its daily thing. Oh, shit. No, it's going to hit the bridge. Oh, God. We do believe at least 7, Chief James Wallace in the Baltimore Fire Department said in a reporter's question about how many people are unaccounted for after the incident at Francis Stone Key Bridge. Wallace, at an early morning news conference, said 2 people were rescued from the water, 1 who didn't require medical attention, oh, lucky them, and another person who was transported to a local hospital. Wallace said divers, as well as sonar and infrared technologies, are being utilized in the search. Sonar has detected the presence of vehicles below the water's surface, he said. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the people in those vehicles are gone at this point, unfortunately. Cars tend to become death traps once they're submerged. So here's the Francis Scott Key Bridge. It's down, like, it is, portions of it are collapsed. It's pretty bad. Maryland Transportation Secretary Paul Wiedefel confirmed reports of workers being on the bridge at the time of the collapse, but did not have specifics on the number of people that it held. He said it was too soon to tell how long the busy portal in Baltimore, a major transit for shipping on the East Coast, would be closed. Yeah, this is... And I wonder if the freighter ship or the company responsible for that freighter is going to bear any financial responsibility for this problem that it's caused, because this is big. Like, how does a freighter hit a bridge? I don't necessarily know how fast freighters go, because I'm not an expert in ships. But I would guess that they would move slower than, say, like a smaller ship. But I could be wrong. They could have massive engines that push them very quickly. But I'm still wondering how somebody that is navigating the freighter would miss the bridge. Like, how do you miss a fucking bridge like that? I don't understand how you do that. The temperature in the river was about 8 Celsius in the early hours of Tuesday, according to a buoy that collects data by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So, very, very chilly water. Very, very chilly water that you do not want to be submerged in for any length of time. Especially when you're not expecting it. So, that the vessel appears to have hit one of the supports of the bridge, causing the roadway to break apart in several places and plunge into the water, according to a video posted on X, formerly known as Twitter. Yes, we all know that. You guys need to stop saying that. I get you're paid by the word. And good morning, Parody Bear. I get that saying X, formerly known as Twitter, adds a few extra words to your paycheck. But we all know that X was formerly known as Twitter. We are all aware. We do not need that. The ship caught fire and thick black smoke billowed out of it. Oh. Shit. The ship is also damaged. This is a dire emergency, Kevin Cartwright, Director of Communications for the Baltimore Fire Department, told the Associated Press on air. Our focus right now is trying to rescue and recover these people. Yeah, mostly recover. Because, Jesus Christ, I don't know how you're going to survive falling from a bridge into water, whether you're in a vehicle or not, if the bridge is also falling with you. How do you not get crushed by debris? And then we've got the container ship with the bridge, like, on in the ship. That's crazy. So there's part of the bridge is actually on the ship. This is crazy. Cartwright said some cargo appeared to be dangling from the bridge, which spans the Patapsco River, sorry, I'm trying to catch up here. A vital artery that port is a hub, a shipping hub, a valuable shipping hub on the East Coast. Agencies received emergency calls around 1:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, reporting that a ship leaving Baltimore had struck a column on the bridge. Wallace said there is no indication of a fuel spill, though an odor indicating diesel. Sorry, an odor of diesel has been detected. So we're probably detecting some of the vessel's fuel, and hopefully it is not leaking into the river, because that would be awful. We don't need that. From a vantage point nearest to the bridge, from a vantage point near the entrance to the bridge, jagged remnants of the steel frame are visible, protruding from the water, with the on-ramp ending abruptly where the span once began. Oh, that's terrifying. That's a jarring image. That's not something I would want ever to have to deal with. Wow. Oh, come on, Chrome. Don't do this. Don't do this, Chrome. Don't be a dick to me. Come on. Let me read this. So, yeah, this is going to be a big problem. This is going to affect shipping for quite a few people and companies, I would think. And I would not be surprised if there isn't some sort of transportation investigation into this matter once things are more cleared up, because I don't know how you can be navigating a freighter and hit a bridge. The Dolly was headed from Baltimore to Colombo, Sri Lanka, and was flying under a Singapore flag, according to data from marine traffic. The container ship is about 300 meters long and about 48 meters wide, according to the website. That's a pretty big ship. Synergy Marine Group, which owns and manages the ship called the Dolly, confirmed the vessel hit a pillar of the bridge at about 1:30 a.m. while two pilots were in control. It said all crew members, including the pilots, were accounted for, and there were no reports of any injuries. Okay, but how do two pilots? That makes it worse. All right? That makes it even worse. How do two different people hit a bridge while driving a ship? How one of them is making the ship go, the other one is making the ship turn. How do between the two of them not see the giant fuck off bridge? I don't understand this. You'd think all the technical tools they no doubt have on these boats would make something like this near impossible. Steering. Oh, considering it pretty much never happens. I hear there were no weather issues. No. There are many factors involved in this. Be careful what you say. I'm trying to be. I've already said I don't know shipping. I'm just asking, how is it possible that if there are two pilots involved in making the ship go, how can they both not catch the bridge? Danish shipping giant Maersk said that it had chartered the vessel, which was carrying its customers' cargo. The Maersk crew members were not... Wait, does it say it were on board? Sorry, the Maersk crew members... Oh, no Maersk crew and personnel were on board. So here's another picture of the bridge in like cleaved in half with like part of it up. Baltimore Police Department Commissioner Richard Corley said there was absolutely no indication that the impact was intentional. No, I don't think it was either. I'm just wondering. Drift is a thing, it's why when you steer it's not immediate. I wonder how fast that river flows. What was it called? The Pataspo? Those rivers around there are so hard. The Maryland and Washington, D.C., the Potomac, the Pataspo. Officials said that the U.S. Coast Guard were in contact with the ship's crew. Well, that's good. Maryland Governor Westmore declared a state of emergency and said on social media his office was in communication with U.S. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg is the freaking Secretary of Transportation? How did I not know that? Who is in consultations with himself. The Francis Scott Key Bridge opened in 1977. Named for the writer of the Star Spangled Banner. Okay. Yeah, I do wonder how fast those rivers flow and how much it would affect the steering of those ships. Because never would you think that you would physically see the Key Bridge tumble down like that. It looked like something out of an action movie, said Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott, calling it an unthinkable tragedy. Yeah, there's like nobody involved in this that feels good about this. If I was one of those two pilots, I would just be like, oh my god, like I wouldn't even have words to describe the emotions that I would have in that kind of an accident. Because that's what it is. It's obviously an accident. Like, I don't think anybody's suggesting like negligence or anything like that. I don't think anybody's doing that in this. This is what for now this is just a tragic accident, right? And I would imagine that those pilots probably feel horrible. And I can't imagine, like, I can't imagine the type of penalties that that company might levy against them, which is unfortunate, but shit rolls downhill, right? So the company is going to need to find a scapegoat, and unfortunately, it's probably going to end up being these two pilots. You can call it an unthinkable tragedy all you want, except it's happened many times in the past, ships striking pillars. True. Most of the time it's a freak accident. That's what the pilots are there for. It's their job, but nobody's perfect. And the pilot doesn't steer, the pilot commands. Okay, so the pilot commands, and then I guess there's the navigator. Okay. But I mean, the company, it's gonna suck because that Synergies group, the Marine Synergies group, they're obvious the way they're gonna find somebody to blame, and it's going to, unfortunately, going to be probably either the pilot or the navigator, which is unfortunate because, like Pincalo just said, there's drift, there's freak accidents, there's like you're piloting something on water. Things are bound to go wrong. Yes, that's what you're there for, to make sure they don't. But you're human. So, when it's a nighttime navigation of a shipping channel like this, or pilots are required to as well, but you also use your most experienced helmsman to steer. Yeah, so the helmsman is the steering person, and the pilot is the commanding of the go this way, go that way. So the pilot, I guess, would be the navigator. Because the navigator's the one that goes, go over there. Don't go that way. Okay. So we'll have to keep an eye on this story. We'll have to keep an eye on the updates, because I have a feeling that there is going to be at least a state transportation investigation, if not a national transportation investigation into. There has to be, right? There, even if it ends up being deemed an accident, they have to investigate this. The Key Bridge collapsed. They can't just be like, oops, oh well. They're going to have to investigate it. So we'll keep an eye out to see what comes of this. All that's going to happen is all that's happened isn't any big. All that's going to happen isn't any big stuff. That's going to be much. It'll be families that lost. Nobody will be fired. Nobody will be sanctioned. This was a freak accident. Well, that's at least a good thing. I wonder how long it will take to reconstruct the bridge, though. Because they're gonna have to figure that out. They can't obviously just let the bridge sit there. They're gonna have to clean it up and either reconstruct it or take the rest of it down and rebuild it from scratch. So, but that's something else I don't know about. Engineering. Well, so let's see here. I've got this Kira TV video pulled up. I would like to see if he has found anything else out about Sweet Baby Inc. and the journalists that we haven't covered in our other reactions to videos, both from Asmongold and from I can't remember the name of the other creator that we were watching, but he's a Canadian creator. But I want to see if Kira has found anything else about this craziness. And so let's pop in and take a look.
No doubt you've seen the words Sweet Baby Inc. in recent weeks, and that's probably why you've clicked
just a few.
Video. This is an incredibly complex while also stupidly simple topic, and I'm going to do my best to explain it all. I want to try and give you both sides with my opinion mixed in, because then you can better understand the whole picture and not just a single-sided narrative.
And that's why this video is half an hour long.
Topic is essentially what's being called and what feels like Gamergate 2.0, and it's probably going to escalate from here, just like Gamergate did back in 2014.
Did Gamergate actually ever go away, though? If we're really being honest, did Gamergate really, truly go away? Because I don't think it did. I really don't think it did, but I don't know.
2018, Sweet Baby Inc. was founded in Montreal. They described themselves as a, quote, narrative development and consultation studio with a mission to, quote, tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video game industry, with an aim to, quote, make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone.
And I would just like to stop and say this here. It's hard for me to shit on inclusivity because I have benefited from it. I have benefited from some of these inclusivity measures. Look at the accessibility improvements. Can you imagine like where I would be if or where anybody would be without the accessibility features in these games, like as a disabled gamer? So it's hard for me to sit and shit on inclusivity, but at the same time, there are so many things about the ham-fisted way that things are being done that I can't just sit there and actually let all of this not be talked about. Oh, Parody Bear says from 1960 to 2015, there have been 35 major bridge collapses related to ship or barge collision. 18 of those collapses have happened in the U.S. Holy shit. Look at them taking the cake for most things happening again. They're 50%. Look at that. But yeah, it's hard for me to as a blind gamer who gets to play games like Mortal Kombat 1 and The Last of Us, it's hard to look at this and go fuck the inclusivity and diversity, but at the same time, they do such a bad job of being inclusive and diverse, and the storytelling is horrible, and like it just ruins it. And it's hard, but it feels like I'm also kind of looking a gift horse in the mouth, if that makes sense.
So cutting through the PR speak, they are hired by game development studios as a contractor to work on their products with involvement depending on the studio needs. This can range from simply proofreading scripts with an eye for how it will be perceived publicly by certain groups, or all the way to full-blown writing narrative and characters with their own team.
Yeah, that and that's why I don't like you can tell, for example, Mortal Kombat 1 did not have a Sweet Baby narrator, like a Sweet Baby writer. They may have had a suggestion from Sweet Baby of how the character be gay, right? But you can tell that the writers of the story of Mortal Kombat had control over how they told that story, because it wasn't ham-fisted down your throat. That's an example of that.
Regardless of their level of involvement, they are still a consultant firm, which means their work is subject to approval and direction of the people that are hiring them, putting the final decision of what they do, how they do it, and what makes it into the final product firmly on the people making the decisions on the game.
True.
With that being said, their main focus is on what people refer to as DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So that
diversity, equity, and inclusion. You know, none of those things end up being a good thing. MK1 is on the list. It is. I know that for a fact. It is on the list. That's why Melina is gay, and that's why there's no Johnny Cage cameo, because they said there's too many men in this game. You can't have Johnny Cage character and Johnny Cage cameo because you have a Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Sub-Zero, and Kung Lao. You can't have Johnny. You have to have Johnny Janet. Because there's only 2 female cameo characters right now. And apparently that's a bad thing. Despite the fact that all the female main characters on the roster are incredibly badass characters. No, it's a horrible thing that there are only 2 female cameo characters at the moment. So there has to be 3. But that's okay. If Janet ends up being viable with Ashra, I get to do damn it Janet jokes occasionally. Not too many times, because I'll ruin it, but occasionally.
So that's who they are and what they do, even according to them. So why are they suddenly the talk of the internet? Why is it such a big deal? To put it bluntly, an employee of Sweet Baby Inc. decided to employ the age-old strategy of the Streisand effect. They saw a talent from a small group of people online, and instead of letting it exist in the free market, they saw it as an attack and tried to fight back. Basically, a Steam curator group appeared around January 30th, 2024 called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected. This group had a couple thousand followers and existed to simply leave a negative review.
Oh, stupid thing.
On any
I
game
should have
they
turned
found
on Do Not
that
Disturb.
was working with Sweet Baby Inc. That way, followers of the group who wished to boycott games that hired a diversity consultation group during development could easily spot them and do so. They wasn't telling people what to do.
No.
They didn't direct harassment.
It wasn't at all. It was just
towards anybody. They just said, these games worked with Sweet Baby. Here's a link of the proof, and that's it. Make your own decision. Now, personally, for me, just for the record, I don't see any level of nuance to reviewing a game that works with Sweet Baby negatively, just based on that.
No, it's telling people, well, like, it's saying these are a list of games that have had consultancy with this firm. Play them if you want, right? That's what they're saying. And it really does depend on the amount of involvement that a game developer wanted to have with Sweet Baby. You know what I mean?
I tend to judge games based on the merit of whether the game's good, what's in it that I do or don't like, and then go from there. But I also do not care if people decide not to play a game because they don't like the idea of this company existing or being involved with their games. It's exactly what people should be able to do to vote with their wallet, as people have been saying for many years.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Voting with your wallet in a free market, especially in something like the gaming industry, is exactly how it should be. Like, for example, I don't think anybody should be spending their money on dragon crystals for MK1. I think that they should do what they did in Mortal Kombat 11 and reward you with dragon crystals for ranking up in online ranked matches. They give you dragon crystals for profile level ups as well. If you level up your overall profile, they give you like 200 dragon crystals at a time. But instead of seasonal credits, which you get for completing daily quests and everything, so you earn those by the bucket load anyway, they should give you dragon crystals. And if people stop paying for them, if people stop paying for those packs of dragon crystals and only farming them by profile level ups and all that, Warner Brothers will start understanding, okay, nobody wants to buy the currency, how are we going to get it to them? And then they'll change it back to the old ways. That's how you vote with your wallet.
Even if I don't agree with you on why you're doing something or how you came to that conclusion,
you have the right
to do it. It should be reasonable that if people feel that they don't like this thing, they can simply not buy it. And having a curator group point out that it's there just so they're informed one way or the other, that seems totally fine.
Yeah.
So nobody was really
Nothing
going
wrong
too
with
crazy
it.
about the fact that this curator group existed, right up until this employee of Sweet Baby Inc. decided to employ the tactic of cancel culture.
And because, you know, cancel culture always works, right? It never backfires on people, ever. And just makes things worse for them. No, cancel culture works every single time.
They were saying that they were the
I
victim
say
of
sarcastically
harassment
to
without
myself.
any evidence being posted, and ironically then calling for the harassment of the people responsible for those unsubstantiated claims. The employee in question, Chris Kindred.
I got a better idea. How about we get rid of all of these credits and this microtransaction bullshit? There's an idea. That too. I hate the fact that in Warships I have 17 different credit systems with all these different unlocks. What the fuck? 17? Oh my god. Remember, because I said what's the difference between doubloons and credits? There's more than just doubloons and credits? Holy shit. That would confuse the fuck out of me.
To be reported, and I'll use a quote, "Anyway, report the fuck out this group."
Oh.
They also linked to the Twitter account of the curator group creator.
Report
and aimed
the
their
fuck
audience
out
to
of
report
this
that
group, huh?
person specifically and maliciously, pointing out how the creator, quote, loves his account so much. Essentially putting people to task, asking them to brigade this person, trying to get their curator group removed and their Steam account banned.
A targeted call to action of harassment. How lovely. How very, very lovely.
And all because they leave negative reviews saying Sweet Baby was involved in this game, which is not harassment. Telling people to go and report somebody for no reason
is
harassment.
Literally harassment.
So again, my view
it's
is
the
that
definition
Sweet Baby
of
Inc. or companies
harassment.
like it being involved in gaming is a non-issue. But before you take a side on my opinion, please watch the video and I'll go into why I feel that way. It's much bigger than them, and therefore they don't really matter. But either way, however you feel about it, for or against the involvement or the concept of an inclusive and diversity-focused narrative consultancy company, the common sense opinion here is that this employee was out of line and
Very much
was
so.
ironically calling for the harassment of an individual by name while playing the victim the whole time.
Yeah, that, regardless of whether you agree with Sweet Baby Inc.'s existence or not, that employee was way wrong. That employee had no business calling for the harassment and brigading of anybody. In regards to having a curated list of games that they worked on. It's insane. It's all the same farming bullshit. I was saying this about Eve back in the day too. You were. Like now it is a million times worse with the microtransactions. Oh my god, I can't even imagine what they've done with Eve in regards to microtransactions. Like the fact that you could buy ISK in back in the day, and the amount of people that would spend real life money on ISK, and ships and blueprints for shit. Like, oh my god, the amount of people that would just blow their money on Eve, all that, like, more than just for their accounts. Like and then there were the people that had like 5 accounts that had like tons of skills on each account, but they would buy ISK for their accounts. They would buy blueprints. They would buy. Oh my god, it's insane. Oh my god, I'm shuddering to think of the amount of money. Oh my god.
The Streisand effect took place almost immediately, with the small curator group swelling to over 200,000 members within a couple of days, as well as igniting...
Yeah, how do you make sure people know about you and not to take part of your consultancy shit? Do that.
2013 onwards. We'll get into how games journalists reacted to this whole situation in a minute, which
badly,
of course made everything worse, as they always do, as well as what people discovered about the employees of Sweet Baby Inc. But first, I feel like we do need to give
Did
you the
he have
cliff
to
notes
censor
of
them?
Gamergate in case you didn't follow the situation. I'm not going to go over the whole history of how it started
Oh,
or
thank
touch
you.
on each individual contentious detail because that's a whole video in and of itself, but I will give you the feeling and thought about what it became. At the time, there were specific examples of game journalists playing favourites, scratching each other and some game developers' backs. Gamers found out, they got angry about it, there were a bunch of back and forths on social media, some big creators at the time spoke up about it, and
Anita Sarkeesian went to the UN and cried. And yeah.
were silenced in certain areas of the internet. Articles by journalists were written about gamers and how they're toxic. Lots of references about toxic, white, straight, male gamers. And essentially painting
goddamn
people who were
toxic
involved in this
straight white
discourse as
men
bad
for
due
existing
to
and
many
not
times
liking
being
bad
men
stories.
And white and gamers.
Holy fuck,
There
how
was,
dare
of course,
they?
extremist opinions on both sides. There were people harassing from one side. This was going on. And then at some point it was objectively proven that game journalists were working together behind the scenes across multiple large publications, using private communication networks to push narratives through their outlets.
I just got
and to work
paranoid that
together
my
on
light
publishing
was
similar
off.
articles and stories all at the same time, thus proving some of the point about games journalism and how it was no longer fit for purpose of informing their core audience of video game players, nor serving them in a responsible and ethical manner. Basically, the apparatus which should have been serving gamers had been hijacked with narratives, and these people were pushing their own ideologies and helping their friends, as opposed to serving that main audience.
And that's the and anytime the main audience was like, hey, we don't want your identity politics in our media, could you please give us what we want? It's like, oh, you're just toxic and you don't like what we're giving you. No, we don't like what you're giving us because your writing sucks. I was just like, I'm sorry, like if your writing is bad, then the game story is going to be bad and nobody's going to like it. Because at the end of the day, playing a game like is about enjoyment. It's about player experience. And if the players don't experience it in a good way, that's not on them. Like, if one gamer out of 1,000 gamers hates the game, yeah, it's on that gamer. They're not playing it right? Or maybe it's just not their genre. But if 1,000 out of 1,000 gamers are saying, hey, this is a piece of shit, fix it. It's obviously the game. Okay, it's that old adage of if everybody is an asshole except you, you're the asshole. It's the same. If everybody says your game is garbage, your game is garbage. Alright? I'm sorry. It's not that everybody's a bigot. It's not that everybody's toxic and everybody's sexist and everybody hates gays and trans people. It's that your game sucks. Alright, I'm sorry that you can't write a good story. Maybe go back and learn some more creative writing techniques. Learn how to weave your ideas and your beliefs into a story without just sitting there going, these are my ideas and beliefs, and you should believe them too. Because that's basically all these people are doing, and then they're getting pissed off that gamers are like, excuse me, I just want to play a game. Do we really have to have identity politics in this too? I just come home from work where I had to deal with that bullshit. I don't want to play a game. I don't want to deal with this. But you're a toxic, straight white man because you don't want to deal with identity politics and your escapism. You should want real life everywhere.
Eventually, Gamergate devolved into social justice warrior versus anti-social justice warrior, woke versus anti-woke, and the topic has essentially turned into a tribalistic us versus them, with battle lines drawn in the sand.
And it still
On both
is.
extreme ends of the spectrum of the issue, there are ridiculous opinions and statements. Gamergate is possibly the alpha test for online political discourse, and it was one of the first large-scale examples of what people now call the culture war.
Yeah. It's true. And the culture war isn't working. Or just do what Blizzard did and change the end user agreement and make it so you can't log in unless you agree to the agreement. That's true. Can't cancel your account. Can't modify, can't change your payment info unless you agree to the new EULA. Really? Holy shit. Wow. Holy crap, Blizzard.
Most of the initial points are forgotten by many involved or were never known in the first place, and instead it's people shouting at each other about being woke or a Nazi depending on which side is doing the shouting.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten to the stage where a pride flag in a game or a gay character or a black character can be considered woke for a game.
Right. Like everybody was pissed off that Melina was gay. I didn't care. Because they spent about 5 minutes of the entire story on that. Maybe 2. There were like 2 scenes where it was brought up. And it wasn't brought up, and they didn't even say the word lesbian or gay or anything. They just said your relationship with Tanya. It wasn't like, it's wrong, it goes against what the gods say. They didn't even say any of that. It goes against Umgadi tradition, and Tanya's part of the Umgadi. The Umgadi are supposed to be celibate. They're not supposed to, like, be in relationships with anybody. Right? And so, that's how it was done. They told the story. That's how you can tell. The MK writers took a suggestion from Sweet Baby, which was have a gay character, and they wrote it in because it's a new timeline anyway, and they wrote it in a non-ham-handed way. But still, all the anti-woke people were, oh my god, MK1 is a horrible game because there's a gay character in it. Fuck off.
And also, if you shoehorn a bad character in or change a character's gender or race or something that people care about and thought was integral to the story, having any kind of opinion about that sometimes gets you labelled as a bigot or something else.
Yep.
That's just to say people have moved on from what the initial issue was, and now it's turned into this big thing where everyone's picked a side and they're just going at each other about everything. Obviously, this is a very broad overview of the issue, but the feeling from Gamergate and what it evolved into is that there is now one group on the far left who are trying to ruin games and labeling much of the gaming market as white, straight men, they're problematic, they're bad, they're toxic. And then a group on the far right of the topic who think that adding in pronouns, pride flags, minorities, or traditionally oppressed groups of people is damaging to the product and an attack on their existence.
Yeah. Both groups, by the way, out of their ever-loving minds. Both of them. Both of them have collectively ruined video games because we can't just have a good game with a good story and good action with that just allows for inclusivity without being ham-fisted. No, we can't have a balanced game. No. We have to either have a ham-handed, woke-ass, fucking horrible storylined video game, or we have to have a video game that is, like, stuck in some stupid, boring 30 years ago mindset. Those are our two options. We can't have a nice, balanced, fun video game. That's not allowed. From either side. This is why being a dirty centrist is the way to go. And people can shit on you all they want. Oh, you never pick a side. Yeah, because both sides are retarded. Because you guys don't know how to not live in a black and white world. And it's really fucking sad.
Obviously, this is the two extremes, and I'm not saying people who agree or disagree on aspects of this particular issue fall into those extreme categories, but just that these are some of the extreme views. So now we know roughly, at least, what Gamergate is, what Sweet Baby Inc. is, and what they did to start the situation. Now we need to outline what the perceived issue is with Sweet Baby as a concept, and also why people are angry about it, and what the real issue is that people might have missed.
Well, people are angry about it because they chose to attack people for no reason, for just curating a list of games that they worked on.
So the perceived issue is that DEI is ruining games. DEI, again, is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Essentially adding in marginalized groups to games to be more inclusive of an updated demographic of people who play or may play video games.
Right.
This, I think, is an issue where most people would reasonably agree as a concept is not bad.
No, it's not bad. And there are good ways of doing it. And people have been doing it for years in games. Like, fuck, Kenshi, for example. I know I keep using Mortal Kombat, but Kenshi's been in the game since the 90s. Since the original Mortal Kombat 2, I think it was. So, like, diverse characters, like fucking, again, female characters, strong female characters, they've been around in video games forever. Strong black characters been around forever. There are ways of doing this without being ridiculous. I don't know why in the last 10 years writers of video games have just forgotten how to tell good stories.
Not inherently anyway. After all, we know that other people that don't look like us, don't talk like us, don't think like us are out there in the world, so why shouldn't those people exist in our media too?
Right.
The reason people seem to be unhappy is that they believe these companies are coming into studios and ruining what would otherwise be good games that they might enjoy, especially when those games or those products, those TV shows, those movies, those books, whatever they're going to be, are franchises and stories that they've grown up with and have a connection to.
Or have already shown that they can be diverse and inclusive, but because they're not diverse and inclusive in the particular manner that these people would approve of, they have to rewrite everything to make it diverse and inclusive their way. Like X-Men, for example. Everyone's like, X-Men needs to be diverse and inclusive. Really? I'm sorry. Does anybody forget about Professor Xavier being disabled? Or fucking Scott Summers? Fucking, like, hello? Professor X was in a wheelchair.
People are unhappy with the idea that studios exist entirely to strip mine out the basis of what they liked about those stories or what they knew about those characters and make them into something else in a cynical manner, purely for the sake of being inclusive and not to enrich stories or organically create good products.
That's the thing. These people don't understand how to weave inclusivity into a story. It's just, boom! Inclusivity! Here!
I don't think most people on this issue care whether or not there's gay or people of colour in their stories.
No!
A lot of people
it's
just
the
don't
way
want
they're
stuff that
put
they
in.
know changing just for that purpose.
It's the way that they're
good
written.
Products with people that are diverse typically doesn't seem to be an issue for most people. And they're not wrong to feel this way specifically, because if a company was coming in and doing exactly that, it wouldn't be good for the product. Not because of including more demographics who are usually not represented, but because they're being used as props instead of created and used in a manner that makes sense and respects them as complex people and cultures.
And that's another thing. Somebody, and I'm going to tell you this as a blind person because it's happened to me in my own life. People who are in a minority group can tell the difference between when they are woven well into a story and when they are tokenized. and it does not feel good to be a token. And when you have stories where a diverse character is written in obviously just to fill a quota and to be a token character, nobody likes that character. And the people that you put that character in to identify with also feel that you as a company does not care about that actual complex person. All they care about is filling a quota for some money. Kenshi had nothing to do with diversity. No. Kenshi had to do with being a blind fucking swordsman. That's it. That's what Kenshi is, nothing else. No, exactly. But that was my point. Is even back in the 90s, they had diverse characters, but they didn't have to be there to be diverse. They were just there. And they had disability or disadvantage of some kind, but it wasn't their identity as a character, right? Not like today.
That tells their plight, their stories, and does them justice. Adding in diversity and including people in order to simply check a box and say, look at us, we're doing this diversity thing, wouldn't be fit for purpose.
No.
And people generally shouldn't support that practice if it was proven to exist. The issue here is that Sweet Baby Inc. is not really the right target for this entire concept. After all, they are simply an outsourcing tool that does lots of different work and not always specifically DEI work, even if that is a core focus. They are, after all, just a contractor, which means they are being brought in at the behest of the people making decisions. They then have to have their work signed off on by people making those decisions.
Now that's a good point. Why are these developers still bringing in these consulting firms if the player base is obviously showing that they don't like these changes, these characters, these storylines? Why are these game developers still making these decisions?
This begins and ends with the people who are writing those checks, who are signing off on that work. This would be going on, whatever we're going to classify this as, with or without Sweet Baby or any third party existing. So that's clearly what some of the studios want. Also, I think most people would agree that having organic stories involving people of all walks of life are good for everybody involved.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean we should remove all straight white men from everything, because obviously that would be stupid and going way too far the other way. Then the concept around things like Sweet Baby comes into play, which we'll get into in a minute. Just like it's widely agreed upon that travel broadens your horizons and opens your mind to other people's viewpoints and seeing the world differently, so too does engaging with different people and looking at things in a new light.
Exactly. And I would agree with Kira here that most people, if presented with a well-written game that presented other people's viewpoints and walks of life, people would be engaged with it and would play it and be like, this is a good game. It's just that they're not making good games.
So too does engaging with different people and looking at things in a new light. We've seen many recent examples of explosions in growth and interest in foreign media, whether that is foreign film, the likes of Parasite, the South Korean movie being the first ever to win an Academy Award in the West, or the massive uptick in South Korean TV shows on Western Netflix with things like Squid Game breaking records. We can apply this to expansion of Japanese products like anime and manga in the West, as well as Japanese games too. There are countless examples of this, where stories are told from different cultures, different perspectives, more diverse, more inclusive, and I don't think the majority of people, even those who speak out against things like Sweet Baby, are against the idea of having this happen.
They are. And most of them absorb media from other cultures as well. Most of these people that are against Sweet Baby, they're not against the idea of diversity and difference as a whole. It's not that at all. They're not. That concept of being different and diverse is not abhorrent to people. It is just the way that it's being done right now.
These diverse characters, casts, and ideas in gaming. I think what most people are against is the idea that this diversity comes from a place of cynical and forced inclusion that does not feel or act organic, as well as that a lot of these studios, a lot of these people making these decisions are proven time and time again to hate these people. If you were to say we want to be inclusive and diverse and add in more people, most can say, okay, we're coming along for the ride. But then when you check the Twitter accounts of the people saying they're trying to be inclusive and they're saying they hate straight white men, obviously then seeing things change, a lot of people's brain go to, you were trying to take us out of the thing that we enjoy.
Why would they not think that way? Why would they not feel that the people who say, okay, I want more diversity and inclusion, but then I also hate straight white men? Why would anybody not think, okay, well, that means that they want to erase straight white men from the product? That's a logical step. That's not causation equals correlation. That's just correlation.
And there are examples of this every single time, even from Sweet Baby. There's countless screenshots going around of tweets made by these employees in which they show a disdain for white straight men.
They're picky babies, you know.
With the call for harassment has examples exactly like this. And again, Lego Butts, who claims to work with Sweet Baby Inc., for instance, said they are grossed out when they see, quote, straight white rich people kiss.
They're grossed out? And what defines a rich white person? How do you determine a white person is rich? Like, no, the way the chick in charge of Sweet Baby and the way she was talking in that interview does not help the case at all. No, it does not. It absolutely does not. When she called them picky babies, like, that was insane.
Which, as you can tell, is not a very inclusive statement to be making and speaks to the deeper issue with companies that are pursuing and pushing diversity and inclusion if they feel this way about a group of people. Not only a group of people, but the largest market force for the product they're consulting on and creating. And this is really simple. If this was a white person saying they're grossed out by another race of people kissing, they would be undoubtedly labelled as a bigot, a racist, or some other word to tell them that they're a bad person, and probably to cancel them if they were a public figure.
Probably? Holy shit, if a white person said, I hate watching two rich black people kiss, oh boy. Goodbye, person. Goodbye, white person. You like, done. Just done. But apparently, because they said it about white people, it's okay. It's all right to say that about white people because they're white. And they're evil because hundreds of years ago, their ancestors came from another continent and made homes here. And some of the white people that did that treated the people that lived here already badly. So all white people here today now are awful, gross people. They're just all of them. They're all despicable, and you can't be racist towards them because they've been so oppressive for so long that it's just time for us to do exactly to them what we think they've done to us. Every single white person. There's never been a good white person in history. Even the abolitionists were secretly oppressionists. There is not one single friendly white person. All of them are just horrible, and we should just erase them. That's how these people act. And we're just supposed to be okay with it.
Lego Butts also posted a Twitter quote, "Pay me to shoot down your white male lead game ideas," which of course means leading characters that are white and male. Adding two and two together here from the previous tweet, this person who is working on inclusive game narrative makes it seem like inclusion isn't the goal. There are, of course, dozens more examples of this from people associated with a company or people posting stories about this on their side. but the core issue remains the same. These are statements that most people would not dare utter aloud about other races, genders, or sexual orientation. And yet people who are working on game narratives and ideas are so comfortable with the idea that this is okay, they're willing to say it out loud on their company-linked account.
Yeah, this is not only a personal account. This is an account linked to their job, and they are willing to be openly, blatantly racist to the largest demographic of their game market because they're white. That's why. Because they're white. It's crazy.
Not just that, but if this is what they're comfortable saying online, what else do they feel that they don't say?
Yeah.
People that are trying to write stories to be inclusive feel this level of disdain for the majority population that play the games. Why wouldn't people want to fight back against this narrative and
or the majority of the people that live where they live?
This company and companies like it. Again, I think most people are fine with diversity and inclusion. What they're not fine is that these are the people doing that.
No, yeah.
Even the Sweet Baby CEO at a game developer conference compared white male heterosexual gamers to babies.
We still look at our core demographics and say, okay, they're white, cis, hetero males. And we cater almost exclusively to them. And the problem is that we don't just cater to them like, here's something that we think you'll enjoy. We cater to them the way that we cater to like a picky baby.
Now she's obviously making a point here that if you cater games to a single audience and it remains consistently the same, they're going to be resistant to change, which is true. But singling out white, cis, heterosexual males here is part of the issue people take with this stuff.
It is. Because as much as you can't change the fact that you may be a gay person, or, like a gay person of color, right? A cis, hetero, white man can't change any of those things about himself. So why are you shitting all over characteristics that the white man can't change when it's completely not okay for people to shit on you for things that you can't change? Like your skin color, your sexual orientation, or your fucking, your identity. That's like, how is that okay?
The obvious solution for all is to make games for everyone without thinking about people's genders, sexual orientation, ethnicity, or other immutable characteristics.
Make
or
a story
choices.
that's
Games,
good.
Just like other media, should be created.
Don't
with
make a story that checks boxes
without tailoring it to someone based on these traits. Make stories that make sense to have those people in it. And that's fine, because then you're not taking anything from anyone or shoehorning anything in. People have, provably, and will continue to enjoy a diverse cast of characters in a story outside of their personal experience.
Absolutely.
So long as it's well made and done properly. This is a fact you cannot argue.
No, you literally can't. There are countless examples of stories that have diverse characters and that are done very, very well and written incredibly well throughout history, throughout time, and people gravitate towards them because they're good stories. They're well told, they're well written, the characters are fully developed, and the authors of those stories didn't sit there and go, okay, how many black characters do I have in this story now? How many women? How many straight white men? How many of nobody that wrote a good story gave a fuck. Tolkien didn't count the amount of women to men, or black orcs to white orcs, or wood elves to high elves, or he just wrote his story, right? Like, Shakespeare didn't count how many he didn't count how many knights or whatever. Like, he didn't care that Viola wasn't actually female, or wasn't actually male, when he had her pretend to be a knight in Twelfth Night. And that was in the 1600s, for Christ's sakes. But, like, Come on. Nobody cares as long as the stories are good.
And the people who will not enjoy that or participate, they were never going to in the first place because they probably are the extreme fringes of a tiny fraction of real racists and bigots.
Nobody cares
but
about
when you try
them.
to shove diversity and inclusion down people's throats at the expense of their experience, and even while provably showing contempt for that group of people, that's clearly going to damage and undermine your entire goal in the first place. And you are the one that is doing things you're accusing other people of doing.
Yeah, you are damaging your own goal, and you are being the very thing that you claim to hate. And makes me wonder just how racist and phobic you actually are.
When you say you hate white men, why is anybody going to take you seriously or accept you for the person that's for inclusivity?
Literally nobody is.
Now, let's introduce the game journalist reaction, because this finishes off the point of what people really need to focus on and why this situation is basically Gamergate 2.0. As soon as the whole situation went public and consumers' Sweet Baby were going viral, game journalists started to publish articles in which they didn't address any of the middle ground opinions or coverage, didn't acknowledge any of the real concerns normal people have, and ignored completely what Sweet Baby Inc. employees had done or said, basically painting a total one-sided anti-gamer narrative.
Well, yeah,
Again,
because game journalists aren't gamers. It's very, very obvious. The game journalists will put the game on the easiest setting and barely play it and be like, this is a really bad game. I didn't understand it. And it's like, well, because you didn't try to play it properly.
And this plays into exactly what they were doing before. The toxic, white, straight male gamer. Now, obviously, the first one that came was the Kotaku article, but if you go on Twitter, you're going to find many more games journalists doing the exact same thing, ignoring the facts, painting one side as the very bad people and their side as the very good people. More articles have come out, but there's too many to go through, so I'm just going to focus on this one, the one that started it all.
Oh, the Kotaku article.
This is written by Alyssa McCanty, who represents the whole...
McCunty! Yes, she really is McCunty. That's true.
Situation as if she is some wartime hero going undercover behind enemy lines into enemy territory, hiding from secret police. In reality, she pressed join on a public Discord invite link and then asked some gamers, some normal people in a public channel, a few questions.
Do us all a favor and try to be just a little bit less black.
This is all presented as if it's some wild group where people are going to do crazy things and she's really at risk. But she just joins and asks a few questions and then they ban her when they find out she's a journalist for Kotaku. She basically opens the article as she means to continue, which is comparing a Discord group and Steam curator that simply leaves negative reviews on games involved with Sweet Baby to Kiwi Farms, which is a website that has a deep history and tie to much online harassment, essentially opening the article by poisoning the well for readers.
That's like saying that this group is this Steam group is like fucking 4chan. What the fuck? The Kiwi Farms? It's like, okay, making a list of games is the same as Kiwi Farm. Okay.
Who might assume that a crossover in interest between the curator group and Kiwi Farms makes them equal in action. This is done for only one purpose, and again,
that's
to
insane.
Poison the well for readers. So then she goes on to compare the situation to Gamergate, which ironically Kotaku was a major player in starting and perpetuating in the first place. Overall, the article labels people who participate in this conversation as bad actors. The article is entirely one-sided and an entirely biased view on the whole situation. It's exactly what you would come to expect from games journalists, who often treat gamers as if they literally despise them and would rather be writing about anything except games, which is funny since often that's exactly what they do, like when they bring up politics during reviews of video games or game consoles.
What? Yeah, why do they do that? They're supposed to be a game journalist, and yet they can't like resist putting politics in it. It's weird. Making a list of games the same as creating a server to protect a mentally ill individual from harassment. Interesting. Yeah.
The article was the least of the issues, though, because when it went live, Kotaku posted it on their Twitter, and people started to question it. One user on Twitter posted on the thread saying, quote, "Does this article mention anything about the Sweet Baby Inc. CEO being a full-blown racist? Because I have a feeling this article doesn't mention it."
Right? There's a big gaping hole in that story. There's a rather large hole there.
Alyssa McCanty's response to the tweet reads as follows: "Hi, you can't be racist against white people. Thanks for tuning in."
Yeah, I'm sorry. Do white people exist? Because if white people exist, then I'm pretty sure you can be racist against them. And so the next time anyone says you can't be racist against white people, do you know what they're telling you? White people don't exist. That's what they're telling you. Which I would just like to say is pretty much the most racist shit you could possibly think of to say. I'm just saying.
Which makes it really hard to script this section of the video, because where do you even begin? This obviously went viral real quick, because even on the surface of the statement, it's utterly ridiculous. Not just that, but this is coming from the senior editor for one of the largest Western game media outlets on the planet. And if you
and Westerners predominantly are white, so why would you say that?
I don't know what a senior editor does and why this is such a big deal. They oversee the entire editorial process, meaning they enforce the standards of the entire website and their views, essentially making sure that every article that goes live is in line with how Kotaku feels. This is the person who makes sure opinions are consistent in their content and align with the company values.
Yeah, senior editors are they have a big job. Like Kira just said, they strangely enough have to curate the articles that reflect Kotaku. So if this is an opinion that a senior editor is willing to tweet from her account that is linked to Kotaku, that must mean that Kotaku thinks that you can't be racist against white people.
They are the responsible journalist who is serving you, the reader, and helping you to navigate the world through their work. A person who is so terminally entrenched in the culture war and blind to any world experience that they believe they can redefine words. Racism definition reads: prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized.
See, they cherry pick parts of that definition. They take the word particular group and then the phrase typically those who are minority or marginalized, and they run with that as the only part of the definition. They don't take into account the entire first part of the definition of racism. They just take in the last quarter.
Now clearly she's putting all the emphasis on the part of the definition that says typically, but in reality, racism exists everywhere on the planet against every race. And if you left your bubble, if you traveled the world, you'd see this. If you're white and you go to anywhere where you're the minority, you will experience this. And I'm also not going to sign on to this idea that all white people are the same, when there's a vast array of people
Definitely
who
not.
have been treated differently.
All black people aren't the same. All Asian people aren't the same.
Just a thing,
why would all white people be the same?
Across the planet is wild. So the idea you can't be racist to white people comes from a very sheltered culture war approach to a worldview, and as a statement, is pretty close to racism in and of itself.
Oh, it's not pretty close, Kira. It is. It is blatant racism, and it is just as bad as every other kind of it just intrinsically is racism. There's no pretty close to at all. It is racist to say that you can't be racist against white people. And to have this idea that only if you are minority or marginalized can you possibly have people be racist against you is racist in itself, because then you're victimizing an entire group of people based on their race.
Obviously, people didn't take kindly to this remark, so Alyssa set her Twitter to protected to avoid the bombardment of what I assume were very reasonable people interacting with her public account. But she felt the need to do exactly what games journalists have been doing for the last decade when it comes to the topic of fighting gamers, which, again, I want to remind you are the people they're supposed to serve with their work. She had one final go at antagonizing them as much as possible. She accomplished this by changing her Twitter banner to a quote of her saying, "You can't be racist to white people," which even in the way it was written was just incredibly smug and childish. So obviously at this stage, many games journalists came out to utter much of the same rhetoric, doing easy slam dunks on the most extreme of views and appealing to the culture war of us versus them.
See, that's the thing. These lazy ass game journos and these culture war people in particular, they look for the most obviously backwards take from the farthest of far right people that nobody pays attention to, right? And then they throw that up there as if that is the popular belief among the people that disagree with them. And it's so incredibly dishonest. And I can't believe that more people don't see it.
Making the entire issue about racists, toxicity, and white male gamers. How if anybody spoke out about Sweet Baby Inc., they were clearly just a right-wing extremist and they hated minorities and gay people.
Oh, of course!
This is exactly how almost every conversation always goes online now, and it's the bigger issue that people should care about. Not a consulting firm that has worked on some great games and some stinkers.
Yeah.
The fact that the largest media outlets that cover games are operated by people who detest gamers and continue to
literally
band together
detest
in this effort.
them.
In fact, this is the
no
exact
absolute
reason why
no love
I
for
think
gamers
movements
whatsoever.
like anti-Sweet Baby Inc. gain traction even from the most reasonable and moderate gamers. It's because they hate the games journalists so much that they see them talking about white heterosexual male gamers yet again and how they are bad people even if they've done nothing wrong, and they just say, fuck this.
Yep.
If these guys are
They
doing
don't want to hear it.
I'm on the other side no matter what side that even is.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, because you don't want to be on the side that hates you. That's stupid.
Because again, I'm not going to deny that there aren't people who just see a gay person in the game and they're like, that's woke, I hate that, I'm never playing it. Which to me doesn't make any sense.
No.
Those people do exist and I disagree with that. But I think most people, if you look into the nuance of what's being said and what they care about, they're not doing that. If you ignore all those things and look at them as if they're all the same,
I would say
you're
maybe
part of the
1
problem.
out of every 10
people, and that's why they
people
don't
are
like you
that
and why
stupid.
they're probably going to be in that group. But I think this video is getting kind of long, so I'll try and wrap it up. I just want to reiterate upon my stance here, as well as give some examples that I've seen pop up on both sides of the argument relating to games that were ruined by companies like SBI. There are thousands of examples of products out there that were not ruined by inclusive storylines with diverse characters.
Yep.
Even within the roster of games worked on by SBI, Spider-Man 2 reviewed and user reviewed incredibly well. God of War Ragnarok is considered to be a fantastic game as well, but they've also worked on some utter stinkers like Kill the Justice League game that just released recently.
The Suicide Squad
flop.
game.
What I'd say is that this is very simple. Game that just released recently is a complete flop.
Yeah.
What I'd say is that this is very simple. A good game is good, regardless of anything else, and a bad game is bad the exact same way. Kill the Justice League wasn't a bad game because of anything related to a DEI consultant firm.
It was
working
just a
on
bad
It
story.
was a bad game because it was a live service pile of slop that had nothing anybody wanted. Writers and game developers are capable of making bad products all on their own.
They were
don't
just
need
lazy.
some other stuff to ruin games.
That was the
They can
problem
do
with
that
Suicide
themselves.
Squad.
Had
Warner
SBI
Brothers
not worked on the
just
game,
got
it
lazy.
would still have sucked. Just like Gollum sucked. Just like
Yep.
Anthem sucked.
Yep.
Just like the majority of game releases, even in AAA, are mediocre at the very best.
Yep.
It's also impossible to know what exactly, if anything, they've changed or done to each game on a case-by-case basis. But again, it's on the game developers and higher-ups who bring them in and okay their work in the first place. Meaning the blame, if you feel that blame exists, is firmly
on the
on
game
the people
devs.
making these decisions and not on these individual companies.
And I
like
wouldn't
SBI.
even say it's the game devs. I would say it's the companies that are funding the devs, like Warner Brothers, for example. I would say that NetherRealm didn't go to Sweet Baby. I would say Warner Brothers probably did. As like an executive up at Warner Brothers probably had that consultancy set up.
They're just a tool being wielded, and if that tool didn't exist, they'd simply use another one or an in-house one.
True.
And overall, the biggest issue is the game journalists banding together to demonize the free market of opinions and consumers voting with their wallet. They ignore indefensible tactics from their side, their co-workers, their friends, while perpetuating a narrative that quite literally harms their cause and galvanizes moderates, bolstering
Against
what they
them.
class as enemies in the culture war
Right.
they help to perpetuate.
Yeah, it's their fault that the culture war started and is continuing, and that moderates are starting to look at this and go, you know what? I don't like this. You know, my further right friends are right about this.
This issue is being made into an us versus them again, like
Yeah.
a total repeat of history, with no one learning from the past decade, proving that even moderate opinions on a topic will have you labelled as a terrible person by the apparatus that should be bound to report both sides, but clearly has little interest in doing so. I'm sure this video, I'm going to be called woke, I'm going to be called a bigot, I'm sure people won't have listened to what I said. They might have heard
course
some
not.
words and think I fall on either side. I think both sides have issues.
No,
on the
you're going to be
extremes,
called
and
you're going to
nobody's
be called a
listening to the
bigot,
middle issues that most people
a
care
woke
about and where
person,
most
and a
people
dirty
rest. So
fence
overall, I
sitter,
think the
Kira. You're
cultural
going to be
import
called
of ideas
everything.
from other people and cultures is good. I think seeing things from other perspectives is
You
good.
will be
I
called
think
literally
diversity is
everything,
good.
Kira.
I do not think putting people who seem to hate white straight men or any other group in charge of any of this is good.
No.
I do not think game journalists who should be ethically bound to represent their readers' best interests but hating them is good. I think this entire situation is going to be warped and co-opted, so any form of nuance or rational conversation goes out the window, focusing on
agree.
the smaller things and not the big picture. Either
Nobody's
way,
going to
that's just my
have
take on
any
things.
sort of
I just
rational
like video
anything to
games.
say.
I like when they're good, and I think including people in their stories is good. Even if traditionally we haven't had them in our games before, I think that's fine. I think they deserve to be represented as well, so long as it's done well and respects them. I'm not a big fan of changing characters. I personally don't care and I'll still play them. So long as it makes sense, I'm good with it. I understand why people wouldn't be, but I'm not going to come along for the ride that anyone who has a different opinion is a really bad person or one of these things we're going to label them as. When somebody says something like, I don't like insert group, sure, say that about them. When somebody says, I don't like this being forced on me, maybe listen to why they feel that way. I like good games, I don't like bad games, and if a game is badly
Nobody
written
likes
just to
bad
shoehorn
games.
inclusivity or diversity, it shouldn't exist. Just like if a game is badly written for any other reason,
It
it also
shouldn't
shouldn't
exist.
exist. But inclusivity doesn't make games bad.
No.
Bad design and shit writers makes games bad. And the games press does not serve anyone but themselves, their friends, and their version of events. We've known this to be the case for many years, but this is just the most recent example and one that will continue to divide
It's
the
the most
industry,
blatant
earning people tags
example.
and names that serve only to justify ignoring opinions and dismissing conversations. If your first reaction is to call somebody woke or a bigot, you're probably not going to listen to what they have to say because you've already decided what they are. If the AAA industry and the games journalists continue to and want to walk hand in hand, scratching each other's back and spitting in the face of their largest demographic audience, then it's also a reasonable assumption that the situation will continue as the status quo and only get worse from here. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.
That was a good video and a good breakdown. I rather enjoyed that. It didn't really take us it didn't really give us new information, but I think it was a very good, very moderate breakdown of what's going on. And it unfortunately is a very sad reality that we're facing, that game journos and the AAA game industry seem to want to have this partnership and seem to want to destroy the very people that could make them even more profitable and more rich. And it seems like they just don't care about making good products. They just care about the culture war, which is very unfortunate because we live in a time with so much tech and so, like, we could be creating some really awesome original stories, but nobody appears to want to be original anymore, whether it be within games or movies or TV shows. It's just sad. It's like originality is dead, and anybody that wants originality and good stories apparently is toxic. And it's very, very, very just sad. It's just sad. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to do the Be Right Back screen. I'm going to do a bathroom break, and then we'll come back for our other videos. So while I'm gone, share the stream out, and I'll be right back. Alright, we are back. Hello, Cannibalistic Wizard. Welcome to the show. And welcome everybody else too. I see we've got some more people here in chat. So welcome back. Welcome to the coffee stream. We're gonna jump into our other videos. So I've got 2 Abba and Preach videos. We've got one about a mom of 3 who quit her job to become an influencer. And now she is homeless. Are we surprised? Are we surprised? Because you don't quit your job to become a content creator. You either don't have a job and you start becoming a content creator, or you become a content creator part-time and do your day job. That's what you do.
Get somewhere safe and warm for the night until I'm able to figure out at least how to get home.
Kiara Jones came to Houston from Tallahassee at the start of the new year, chasing after a dream.
This is like one of the biggest populations of the social media influencers. That's kind of my
Wait, Houston is the biggest population of social media influence? Okay.
Goal to become a big influencer.
She'd been staying at a motel this month with her
3 little munchkins. I love them. That's so
Fucking
sweet.
Florida
But by
women,
Monday,
man.
she
What
says
is it with
she'd run out of
Florida?
money.
It just became too much for me after a while.
With
Skins. I love them. That's so sweet.
But by Monday, she says she'd run out of money.
It just became too much for me after a while.
With temperatures dropping and no place to go, she says she called 911. Police brought her and her kids here.
Jesus Christ, she had to call 911 because she left Florida. Why didn't you just go to Miami? How many social influencers live in Miami? Probably tons. Why did you have to go to Houston? Why would that? This doesn't make any sense.
Essentially, this lady quit her job, came to Houston to be around the social media sphere so she could be an influencer with her 3 kids. She gave herself a couple days to figure it all out. She took her kids with her and risked it all.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And now they're homeless.
oh, so now you want to know what I think? Take your kids.
Yeah.
Take your kids away. If that's the decision that you're taking with your kids, 3 of them. You said, hey, within 3 days, I'm going to be... You plan to be an influencer and things are going to pop up.
Yeah, you know what? I don't want to be like accused of being a dick sucker for these guys, but I'm sorry, but if you think that you're going to be able to quit your job and go and get a following big enough to A, even be monetizable, and B, be consistently monetizable over a period of time. Oh, the break screen's still up? I'm sorry. Here, let me put this back because it's not that far in.
Get somewhere safe and warm for the night until I'm able to figure out at least how to get home.
Kiara Jones came to Houston from Tallahassee at the start of the new year, chasing after a dream.
This is like one of the biggest populations of the social media influencers. That's kind of my goal, to become a big influencer.
She'd been staying at a motel this month with her
3 little munchkins. I love them. That's so sweet.
But by
They're
Monday,
so
she
sweet.
says she'd run out of money.
It just became too much for me after a while.
With temperatures dropping and no place to go, she says she called 911. Police brought her and her kids here.
Essentially, this lady quit her job, came to Houston to be around the social media sphere so she could be an influencer with her 3 kids. She gave herself a couple days to figure it all out. She took her kids with her and risked it all.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And now they're homeless.
oh, so now you want to know what I think? Take your kids. Take your kids away. If that's the decision that you're taking with your kids, 3 of them. You said, hey, within 3 days, I'm going to be... You plan to be an influencer and things are going to pop up.
That's what and like I said, I don't want to be accused of being a dick sucker for them, but I do agree. If you think that everything's gonna click in 3 days and you're gonna be monetizable and it will be recurring and you'll be able to support yourself in 3 days, you are deluded. And deluded people shouldn't be in charge of children. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. You shouldn't, if you're gonna live in a deluded way, you shouldn't have your kids around.
I don't even know where to start. If you think that in just a few days you're gonna be able to become an influencer,
Yeah.
and money's gonna come in,
And
you're
it's
just have
gonna
a brand
keep
deal out of
coming
nothing with 3 kids. Oh, let me have 3 days. Mental health, or I don't know. There's something deeply wrong with you.
Yeah.
There has to be.
Gotta
something.
be.
Like I can't even. Let me
Gotta
quit
be
my
something
job
wrong.
and let me go be an influencer. There's something wrong. There's something terribly off.
There's got, like, you can't, And this woman, she's got, at least to have 3 kids, she's got to be, I'm going to say late 20s, early 30s. You can't be this stupid in your late 20s, early 30s. I don't understand how anybody could possibly think that in 3 days they could be worth money on social media. Like, I don't understand.
Wrong. And if that's the decision that you're taking with 3 kids, which winds you being homeless, there's other things. There's other things that we did, that you did, that there's other thing that's there. Take
Yeah.
your kids. No, she cannot take care of those kids. There's too much things that are wrong in this premise, in this setting, in this whole story. I do not get it. Take your kids, and until she can... Yup.
You put the kids in foster care?
3 young kids. What's worse, foster care or you being homeless with 3 kids? It is dangerous to be homeless.
Yeah.
Just being homeless. Just you being homeless. Not having a
He's
house.
not wrong. He's not wrong. How many times do you hear of just like, and it's not even the fact that both homeless people start a fight. It's that one homeless person gets, squirrely and starts shit. And then you've got then you've got something going on. It is fucking dangerous. You've got all people with all sorts of different kinds of problems that are homeless for all sorts of reasons. And you can't have kids in that mix.
Layer, you're black. Layer, you're a woman. Layer, 3 young kids. This is fucked up. And it's all by your fault. You quit your job. You decide, I'm going to be an influencer. What? I'm going to move. I'm going to become an influencer. I'm going to quit my job. And I'm going to figure it out over the weekend.
Yeah. You quit. You had steady income. You had steady income and you quit the steady income and you thought you would become an influencer in a weekend. This is the problem, and this is why people keep telling people that are content creators to get a real job. Because it's idiots like this that think it just magically fucking happens and that it doesn't take years and years of hard work to gain a following and gain a following that has people that can even afford to contribute monetarily to you. And holy shit, these people are ridiculous. These people are a fucking cancer, and they are the reason why people tell actual content creators, get a real job.
You say those things to me, and what? What are we talking about here? Of course there's something wrong with you, and take your fucking kids.
Yeah.
Until you figure out what's wrong
Till
with
you
and
can
we
get your head out of
reassess
your
what's
ass.
going on. You're going to be able to take your kids after that. But this is fucked. Mm-hmm. Nah, B. I said what I said. What do you think? Nah, B.
What? You're not down?
You moved to another state.
Yeah.
This is where all the influencers are. No.
You can't
There's
tell me
something
there
wrong
aren't
with you. Take your kids.
influencers
They
in
should take your
Miami.
kids and then
Like,
figure out
you
what
could
they
have
do.
moved, like, you didn't have to leave Florida. You were living in Tallahassee. You could have moved to Miami. You could have moved to Tampa. You could have moved, like, there are plenty of big cities that I'm sure have influencers there. Like, you didn't have to move to Houston. What's in Houston? More importantly, who's in Houston? What man were you chasing?
What it is, what's wrong with you? Why you think like that? Okay, and then you can get your kids when you prove that, because now you're fucking them up. I'm sorry, but yeah.
I think that when it comes to this topic, when you have kids and you got a struggling situation, your dreams are kind of on the back burner. You chose to have kids. I know it sucks to hear that, but they're your priority. Your time for taking risks is when you don't have children. Your time for taking risks is when you have financial flexibility. And boo-boo, you got already enough strikes against you. You can't be out here taking risks like that. As far as taking the kids away, I don't know, foster care is not something I'm super prone on. And generally, women who go homeless like this, especially if they're being recognized by the system and they have kids, are very expediently put on Section 8 housing or stuff like that. So,
yeah, but there are so few Section 8 housing now that, like, where is it going to be? Is it going to even be in a neighborhood that's safe? Is it, like, honestly, foster care might be the safest place right now, which is scary as fuck because foster care is terrifying and horrible most of the time. But this is, I don't know. I can't. Is the break screen still up? Yeah. I think I hit
separating
live.
families is generally not a great idea. So,
my guy, I can understand that someone gets homeless because their partner beat them.
Yeah.
Or something happened, a switch. I understand. You decided to quit your job.
Yeah.
Move to whatever.
I wouldn't put her, honestly, I wouldn't put her any nearly on the top of a priority list as, say, a woman escaping a domestic violence situation with 3 kids, right? Or a woman who, through no fault of her own, despite having a job that she didn't quit, couldn't pay the rent on her apartment and lost the apartment and needs a Section 8 house. I would put those 2 women way higher on a list for Section 8 priority than I would put somebody who had a job and decided to quit the job to be a social media influencer. Like, bitch, do social media part-time. Do social media part-time on the weekends. Like, do your day job. And if, which it's a big if, because influencers have, like, if you get a brand deal, then you figure it out. But you don't quit your job and then hope to become an influencer.
Shit, because you ran out of the money so fast to become an influencer. I understand that you're not a fan of foster care.
I mean, foster kids are not fans of foster care.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not a fan of that lady.
Sure.
And
I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm saying I don't think it's a better solution. But I don't think you're insane for what you're saying. You know, it's not you suggest like, yo, send these kids to the moon. Like, I understand what you're saying, okay?
It's crazy.
It is a crazy thing.
Crazy.
But the truth is, there's a lot of irresponsible parents who every day have access to their kids. And
that is true.
It's a lot for their kids to be gone out of
That
their
is
life.
true.
What you're saying.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of layers. There's a lot of steps that we're taking.
Yeah, and there needs to be a lot going on before you can take the kids away.
There is a lot going on.
Yeah, no.
There is a lot. But that's the other thing. There are fucking drug addicts that overdose that still have their children.
We can disagree on that.
Yeah, I think we disagree.
Yeah, that's fine.
They overdose in front of their children, and they still have their children.
No, I wouldn't put kids in foster care, especially when most of them just stay there and they're just basically in purgatory forever. But anyways, beyond the taking the kids away, generally I think a lot of people are just in financial crunches, and so they look for quick rich get schemes. Be it crypto, be it social media influencer, be it dealing in drugs or whatever it is, and people try to get out of it. I get it. But good Lord, you got kids.
But being a social media influencer, like the women that blow up really fast and the women that get a shitload of money usually have to do shit that you would never, ever, 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 ever want to do. No matter how desperate for money you ever got. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Dubai Porta Potty. It's... But don't you know being an influencer is such a hard job? You know, it's as like it's crazy. But I mean, like, these women that make shit tons of money, there's a reason they make shit tons of money. They do horrible, disgusting, and undignified shit so that men from the Middle East and India will send them buttloads of money. That's why they are rich influencers. I'm sorry, it's shitty to say it, but that's how those Instagram models get that rich. But do buy a porta potty, it's a thing. Mr. Goatman! Long time no see, sir. Glad to have you.
Risking it all despite having these kids. I'm sorry. Once you become a parent, a certain amount of you becomes more about them.
Yep.
But
why do you think my game streams?
Your dreams.
Why do you think my game streams are so fucking inconsistent? Do you think it's because I don't feel like streaming? No, it's because I'm putting the kids to bed, and I'm cuddling with them, and I fall asleep with them because I'm tired. But I would rather put my kids before coming and playing Mortal Kombat on stream, because I would rather my kids have good memories of good, happy bedtime with mom than, you know, would it help grow my brand if I was consistently streaming Mortal Kombat as consistently as I'm streaming the Coffeestream? Yeah. But what? Mom couldn't tuck us in. She was always streaming. What the fuck would I look? No. Fuck that. That's not the mother I'm going to be. That's not okay.
Irrespective of how it affects them. And that's where I look at a lot of parents. Irrespective of whether or not the decision's as extreme as this one, I'm like, you guys are just irresponsible. Mm-hmm. You're irresponsible. Y'all got kids, but y'all not real parents. Ain't that what you always say? Mm-hmm. I don't even know if she wanted these kids, but I can tell you she ain't a parent.
She's not.
That is insane behavior to do with 3 kids.
Like, why not leave them? Media, at least, why not leave them with a grandparent or something? Like, why take them with you? Like, seriously, why take them with you? Little humans need attention. I have 4 kids. Exactly. You can't just be like, no, I'm busy. Like, the amount of times I heard growing up, oh, I'm in the middle of this game. Oh, I'm writing my essay. I can't right now. I'm busy. And the amount of times I just had to entertain myself. Like, and yes, there is something to be said for getting your kids to learn how to play by themselves and how to self-entertain, but you can't just always be busy. You can't just always be doing your own shit. And it's these parents that are constantly just brushing their kids off. It hurts my heart.
Media life, listen, I'm going to say this for all the people who may want to make it as a social media. If you don't got at least 6 to 7 months worth of savings to live off of, don't even think about doing this shit. And make sure you're already starting to make some income from social media before you want to scale up. So
Pity
many
points,
people
I'm
try to
guessing.
switch
Probably.
I'm going to do it full time. And then the stress of not having any money starts to affect your product and the way you approach social media. So everything feels forced and you get stressed. Start looking at the numbers go down, your expenses and your living quality.
Yep.
You want a real action plan? It's this. Save up some money. Make sure you're making a bit of money already from the social media and start scaling up. Or dial back the hours. Go from full-time to part-time. You know, do things in increments. You don't have to, you know, there's this mantra. I never had a plan B because all I thought about was plan A. That's for dumb people, for them.
That's true. And that's partially why I stopped, like, like, and yes, I am trying to monetize the YouTube channel. I do have a Streamlabs link. You know what I mean? But I stopped trying to, like, force the link. Like, I stopped sitting there just focusing on whether or not anybody would donate, because then my streams got really annoying and Hassan pikery. So I just go live, I stream, the link is there, and I've got the Twitch, the sub goal is there, like, people can see it, and if they can, and they can.
For the most
if they can't, they can't.
That's for people who have nothing to lose. When you're a parent, you're not in that place.
Nope.
And even for people without parents, or even people without kids, I still wouldn't recommend it. Life isn't a movie. Yeah, you should have contingency plans. You should have some backups. You want to go do 3 months, you want to do 3-4 days in Houston and make a risk? Have some family, have some friends out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can go through so many ways this woman could approach
Hello,
this to make it
Slime
more
Pup
sensible,
King.
but at the end of the day, I don't even think that's worth it.
Welcome to the chat.
Take those kids away.
Didn't you see me just stand there and not say nothing? I just stayed there and not say nothing. All right? All right?
Take them kids away. Take them away, man. Take them away. That's all
Take him away.
No, I'm good.
What, nothing?
I said what I said.
What'd
bro.
you say?
Take them kids away.
Take them kids away. Take them kids away. Oh man. It's this is what I mean though. This is why people tell content creators to get a real job, because of morons like this. They think that they can just show up and they can just blow up on social media and make tons of money. It's insane. I don't understand. I really don't understand that mindset. So, I've got another Abba and Preach video about tipping culture. And how I bet you it's going to be entitled as shit. These tipping people, they like the Uber and the DoorDash people, they get ridiculous about tips. It's crazy. Meanwhile, the order, like if you pay for a DoorDash order, it's fucking stupid. You go, like, it is double the cost to get an Uber Eats or a DoorDash order than it would be to walk in and pick it up. It's insane. You could spend a normal $25 order at, like, McDonald's is $50 to $60 from DoorDash and Uber Eats because of the delivery cost. And then they make you tip the driver before they even get there. And then they fuck around with your food. And then it's, Anyway, let's take a listen.
Can we talk about tipping culture and the weirdest place that you've ever been asked to tip really quick? I went shopping for my wedding dress like a week and a half ago, and I ended up finding my dress at the first store that I went to. And I'm not joking, when I went to go pay, they flipped their little iPad around and it asked for a tip. When I tell you, like,
a tip?
Froze, I stood there and I think...
A tip for a wedding dress. Bitch, that's a retail service. You don't get tipped for retail. What the fuck? You don't get... What the fuck?
I think they saw, like, the blood leave my body. I did not expect to have to, like, tip buying a wedding dress. And mind you, the store was empty. Like, it was me, my best friend,
and a tip is earned, not a demand. Right? Exactly. Tip used to stand for something. Tip used to stand for to ensure prompt service. The only tips I get are thank you, now my boss won't shoot me, it got here so quick. That's true.
I will say, that makes sense why it's awkward. When people ask for a tip when they have no business and they're staring at you,
Yeah.
that's like full on engaging with a conversation with someone only finding halfway through that they're homeless. When they
Wait, what? Where, what?
full on engaging with a conversation with someone only finding halfway through that they're homeless when they ask you for money. Then you're stuck there like, I didn't think I was going to have to hand anybody any cash. But now I feel like I've talked to you too long to just walk away awkward. Now,
Yep.
me personally, I can do it because I love walking away. Like David.
The most bizarre place that I was asked for a tip was at the airport.
The airport? Where? Was it a sky cap? Because sky caps should get a tip.
I went to these. It's not even a store. It's a hallway when there's goods on either side of the hallway. Okay, and it's.
I think I said this 5 years ago, this day was coming. You did. You did. Only people I tip are waiters. Yep. I do about 15 to 20 deliveries on a busy day. I've gotten 1 tip in 10 years. Yeah, that's true. I think I was on the phone with you when you got it.
You pick whatever you serve. Like you serve yourself. You know what I mean? You pick whatever you want. So I took a sandwich and a bottle of water.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the cashier.
Mm-hmm.
I beep my shit.
You beat your shit?
I beep my shit.
I heard
I heard I beat my shit too. I did not hear beep. I heard I beat my shit.
I beat my shit.
See?
Your shit?
I beep my shit. I didn't beat my shit. I go to the cashier. I go to the cashier and I look at her dead in the eye.
I heard I beat my shit. That's crazy.
I heard that too. You're not alone. You're not alone. Oh. And that was because I was delivering directly to a company owner.
Boop. You know what that means? It's self-serve.
Yeah.
It's self-serve.
So self-serve. Okay, so he self-served his food and water, and now he's self-served paying for it.
Yeah.
And it goes, your total is this. And then it goes, tip who?
Tip the
me.
computer.
I did the work.
Yeah.
I went to get my goddamn food. I
Tip the
beat it
computer,
myself.
damn it.
All right.
Tipping for clothes is crazy.
Okay. Well, in line with what you brought up before.
Oh, check this out. You grab your food, you scan it yourself, you check out yourself, and it asks if you want to leave a tip. Who am I?
What the fuck? What the fuck? Poor choice of words. Right? I beep my shit is definitely a poor choice of words, especially with his accent. It definitely came out as I beat my shit. I went to the cashier and I beat my shit. Oh God, that was too funny. Oh my lord. Okay. Oh fuck. Okay.
Who am I tipping? Myself?
Yeah!
Yes, no, you're tipping the computer. You're tipping the robot. The robot needs to pay its rent too. Don't you understand?
Oh, check this out.
Yo, my guy. What's going on?
One was the owner and then just 2 stylists or something. So it was just empty. It was just them 3 at the front and then me just paying. And I think my best friend was to the side, like looking at more dresses.
So it was them 3 going, "Where's our tip? Where is it? Give me money.
So like I just kind of stood there, and luckily I speak a different language, and my best friend bought a wedding dress at a different store like sometime last year. So in a different language, I looked at her and I said, hey, did you tip when you bought your wedding dress? And she was like, no. And then I was like, did they ask you to tip? And she said no. So then I was like, oh my God, like I really don't think you're supposed to be tipping when you buy like,
you're
a wedding
not.
dress. So I'm just kind of like standing there.
Although that is kind of a dick move to talk to somebody in a different language. Oh, that reminds me of a very specific actor on Shameless. Remember the later seasons? Frank had that one buddy he ended up being gay with. Oh, the other homeless guy, the Spanish guy, the guy he was doing that homeless competition with. It is. You're right, says Batu. He says, so he made his own package, got his own food, went to the self-checkout, rung up his own food to pay for his own food. Then they asked him for a tip. Remember when people complained about church tithes? This is far worse. This is commie extortion at its finest. It really is. It really, really is. It's like, fucking tip the robot. It's like, what the fuck?
And they're trying to do math in my head because the dress is already expensive, right? And then like
no shit,
10% on like a $1,500, $2,000 dress.
That's $200.
And if the dress is even more, you're paying a couple $100s, which I guess if you can afford like a $10,000 dress, maybe a tip isn't that big of a problem. But most people really can't, right? Like my mom's the one who paid for my dress.
It's not a question of food or not.
I'm gonna say this.
Go ahead.
This is like low-key bullying.
It is. They're just standing there in the dress shop. It's usually empty, like, because you've got to be there for your fitting and shit like that, right? So you usually make an appointment at a dress shop. You're usually there by yourself or with your bridesmaid or your maid of honor. And then there's the owner of the shop, and they're just standing there like, are you going to pay? And it's like fucking extortion.
Like, she's alone in there. She's not even expecting you to spring the whole tip thing on her. Listen, I got no problem. I'll look at you with a smile and hit that no tip button.
Yep.
I order takeout and they be asking, no, I'm not. If I sit in your restaurant, I'll tip. That's the only time. And if I'm in Europe, I'll never tip, and I'll do so with a smile. But
yeah, exactly. If I'm gonna sit down in a restaurant and you're gonna serve me, well, better learn how to make your own shit. Yep, exactly. But if I'm gonna sit down in like a restaurant or sit down in a pub and have drinks brought to me or have food brought to me, and the waitress or the waiter is kind and prompt and whatever, and the food is good, yeah, I'll tip, right? But if I'm going to go to McDonald's or Burger King or A&W or something, or Subway even, I'm not going to fucking tip. It's fast food. It's supposed to be quick. That's your job. It's a minimum wage job. You're not supposed to be there for the rest of your life. The pizza place I go to on Tuesdays, they demand 20%. It's really 30% and I don't pay it. No. You shouldn't pay it. It's pizza. It's pizza and you're picking it up. They're not delivering it. You're picking it up.
But I refuse to be asked to be tipped for fucking clothes.
Yeah, no.
Crazy?
Could you imagine going to Old Navy or even a higher end store, like going to pick up a suit or something, and they make you pay, like going to Hugo Boss, or going to what's that Canadian suit company, Moores. Going to Moores to pick up a suit. Fun fact, just because it says 20%, it's not what you're actually paying. You can write 20% on the other side and put $100 on the machine. Interesting.
And a lot of people are so non-confrontational that you spring it on them like this and you stare at them while they do it. That shit's fucking foul.
It is.
I'm sorry. I think that's bad.
They'll take advantage of the fact that people don't want to fight with people.
Disha. While fresh and fit, just pearly things and every other loser in the red pill space are taking L's, we want you guys to get some W's with today's sponsor, Surf.
Oh shit! Did he just take a direct shot at Pearl in the red pill community? Oh my god! Castings tried to pull that with me. Did they?
Shark.
VPN changer in your life. I know that because you like to be outside just like me. You book hotels and this and that. First, it's a known fact that if you change your location for your flight tickets, you get better deals. Yeah. So by booking your flight tickets from a different location, you're going to be able to have a better deal.
But don't you have to be
tickets.
Flying out of that
What's
different
more,
location though?
Some content is gated based off your location. Why shouldn't you be able to watch the TV shows and the movies you want to watch? When you got a subscription, you should be able to see it all. Just changing your location with a VPN allows you to do so.
And the wonderful thing is that Surfshark right now is sponsoring us and is helping us for this video. And you just click on the link below, okay? And you add the coupon ABBA and Preach, and you're gonna get 3 months free. The wonderful thing about Surfshark is that
I do imagine seeing this bullshit at Old Navy.
yeah, and it's 3 months.
And again,
Okay, maybe.
30-day money-back warranty. Get it.
Anyway, I just stood there, and so I was like, okay, I'm not going to tip a couple $100 because that's a lot. And again, why am I tipping at a bridal store? So then I'm doing math, and I'm like, maybe I'll just like press custom and just do like a $50 tip, which I think ends up being like 1.5%.
I don't
which is
care.
like almost embarrassing, but I'm like, also, if you guys think your stylist deserves a tip, why don't you just give her commission?
Right? Like, I might tip, like, okay, so I had to pay $80 for when my best friend got married. She got a deal for hair and makeup for all the bridesmaids and everything, and I had to pay $80, and that included the tip. And I will tip, like, that is another thing I will, like, a service that I will tip for, is if I get my hair done at a salon or something, I will generally try to tip for the stylist. But when you go to a tailor, yes, you tip. It's like the kid with the shine box. You tip the shine box kid a nickel. Yeah. But like I would tip the salon people for doing my hair, and like part of the payment that I paid my best friend was including the tip for the stylist.
Instead of asking me to tip, or maybe I'm wrong. Like, have any other brides ever tipped?
The owner of a highly acclaimed Los Angeles restaurant said his staff is receiving hate mail and threats of protest after a local podcaster called out the 40-seat bistro this week on social media for adding a 4% surcharge.
Why would they add a surcharge? Why wouldn't they just have... Didn't Chuck's Roadhouse do that? I'm 49, I just mow my own hair now. But you could do that, Mr. Goatman. That's what Pink Hollow does. But Didn't Chuck's Roadhouse do that one time, honey? Didn't they charge like this weird surcharge for everything?
The fee listed on the check covers the cost of healthcare for employees at Alimento, an Italian restaurant in the historic Silver Lake neighborhood of Los Angeles. Dave Anthony, a comedian with the podcast Dunlop, took issue with the surcharge and $3 water donation fee posted on this ire on Twitter on January.
You want to know the biggest problem with tipping lately is it goes into, or people are paying shipping fees and services fees that should go into tipping the driver, but it doesn't. That is true. That is true. Very good point.
A lot of bullshit going on here, including charging for tap water illegally. They were charging for tap water.
Charging for fucking tap water. Jesus Christ.
At the bottom of the bill, the restaurant stated that a service charge is added to each check so we may offer our staff health insurance. Please notify your server if you would like this removed.
What the fuck?
They make you feel bad. It's for the health insurance.
Please notify your this is for our service. This is for our servers' health insurance. If you hate your server so much that you don't want their health insurance paid for, ask them to remove it. This is like the South Park fucking episode where they got the Whole Foods and they were like, "Do you want to donate to the hungry children of America?" And they're like, "Would you like to donate $1?" And they're like, "No." And Randy's like, "No." And he's like, "Okay, well then just push the, you have to like take the food out of the kid's mouth to decline the purchase." It's like, what the fuck?
Say shit. That is bullying.
So
that is fucked up.
Insert the fee in there. You have to so if you're not paying attention, you won't even see the 4% because it's on the receipt, but you have to look for it. Yeah. Then you have to ask for it to be removed.
So you have to walk up, your health insurance.
Excuse me, server. I don't want your health insurance to be paid for.
That's your job.
That's your job.
That's your job.
I'm sick and tired of these motherfuckers just passing that shit on to the customer like it's nothing. Half of you guys are already overpricing your foods to the moon anyways.
Yep.
Just put it in the food prices. But don't put it on me and ask me to remove it optionally. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yo, the owner said, "Yo, why y'all coming for us? A lot of other LA restaurants do the exact same thing." Yeah, they're crazy. Listen.
They're also crazy, and we will come for them in due course. But right now, it is your turn.
I'm here to say, tipping culture is fucking stupid. It should not exist. And every time I travel, I'm reminded of why it should not exist.
It is.
I refuse to believe that we offer better service here in North America because we tip. It's not been my experience.
Interpersonal interactions where physical touching is necessary, yes, tip. Yep. Because companies add the surcharge instead of tip. Splitting the tip, and yes, Chuck's Roadhouse did do that shit. It was 10%. Fuck. The local barber I used to go to was $28. He tells the best stories in the group of guys that gathered to listen to it. Or the local guys were fun, that gathered there were fun to talk to. I bet.
When I travel to other countries where there is
no
tip,
barber shops are like the
service
best
is
places.
impeccable. And I have never asked for a tip. Ever. So what is it that we're paying for here? The truth is, we're just subsidizing these employers who are too fucking terrible at their job to pay their employees, or too malicious to want to do it and pawn it off to the customer.
They don't want to actually be good employers.
That's what it really is.
That's what it is.
I like to tip in Europe because it's completely optional, and I do so when I feel like it. So it actually makes it feel. But when it's compelled, it almost feels like it's like mandatory Christmas every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, communism.
Christmas should be special because you're looking forward to giving gifts to your loved ones.
Unfortunately, yes.
But this shit is just. It ain't even optional. It's like Secret Santa at your job.
Yeah.
No.
Fucking Secret Santa at your job.
And they're adding more and more as employers are trying to find ways to cut corners. It's not even that we can't even afford it. It just becomes insulting at the end of the time. Just because I can pay for something doesn't mean I want to.
It's just stupid. It's plain stupid.
Yo.
If I don't know.
That's crazy.
No. There's a
and here I'll even fucking I'll even shit on my industry. Fuel surcharge hikes are like forced tipping. That's true. This is why I have a logo that says woke foods. Oops.
There's a lot of instances that is just crazy. Food and beverage, I understand there's.
Where's the
but
comments?
Even then, that's like you said.
Unnecessary.
Why?
Yeah.
Right? But if that's on the basis that you operate by, I'll go by it. The surcharge of water, bun that. Paying for a tip when I'm not eating at your place, bun that. Paying a tip when I serve myself, double burn that. Bun it again.
It is disgusting how they're adding this tip shit everywhere.
No, yeah, it is.
And you know what? To all my viewers, I'm very comfortable saying this. Stop doing it.
And it's been a surge. It's been a surge since the pandemic. I feel like since the pandemic, it's like tip. There was this thing with the pandemic. It was like, yo, tip more just for your local restaurants to stay open and stuff like that. And the cough season left and they didn't shut the fuck up since.
You know what I heard? I heard that when you tip at the machine, it doesn't even go a lot of times to the waiters.
It does,
but does it in the grocery store?
Not necessarily.
When you tip through the grocery store, it doesn't even go to the employees.
Not necessarily.
Because
there's some restaurants that it don't go to the employees. There's some restaurant. Did you hear what I said? There's some restaurants that it don't even go to the employees, or the owner gets a cut of the tips.
Oh my god, that's disgusting. Where
that.
the owner gets
I saw
a
one
cut.
guy who donated like $2,000 one time.
That's
To
bullshit.
the server because she was doing such a good job.
Yep.
And she got fired because she wouldn't give a portion of that tip to her manager.
Yep.
To the super. I was like, what? That's crazy.
You're the manager. You don't get a tip. Once you reach the level.
Once you reach management, you don't get a tip.
This whole culture is stupid. It's dumb, and the fact that it's pawned off to the customer is unnecessary. Prove to me that
That's
there's better
why
service
fucking
anywhere here in North America versus other places.
That's why DoorDash orders are double what they should be. A DoorDash order at the very least should be maybe $5 more. Just because it's being delivered to you. Not twice as much.
You won't find it. Tipping is fucking stupid. We do it because it's tradition, and I do it. And I don't bitch and moan when I'm doing it. But when I look at some of this stuff and the way it's expanding, it's really fucking dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I'll call it what it is.
Agreed.
So, that's all I want to say for this video. I will not be tipping. I will hit the no button. I don't care. I don't care if it's takeout. I ain't tipping. Close. I ain't.
I have to. You know what's funny? As a blind person, if I'm on my own, and everything, I have to make them hit the no tip button. That's what's even funnier. I could think of a few places where I could deliver just the tip. You be quiet, you. You bad person. Naughty person. Oh. Well, what shall we do? You know, we're gonna save the Can Polly video for the last. Let's watch a Ragical video. Because I haven't watched a Ragical video live for a few months, actually. So, let's take a view at Ragical's latest video from a few days ago. And the argument of, well, you spent $100 on food, so you should be able to spend another $30 on the tip is bullshit. Yeah, it is. It's basically judging you for going, oh, well, you came and ate a meal. You should be able to afford to tip. It's like, no. That's not how that works.
Alright, step out.
I'm not getting out. You're not telling me what I'm doing.
Sir, we're not doing that.
Oh boy.
Cow. You know, having
She
your
sounds
dog in
little.
the car while doing this. Are you bloody insane?
Oh, he's got a doggo in the car? That's not good.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
She
good.
sounds tiny.
The purpose for me pulling you over is because you ran through that red light.
Oh, I did.
You did, yes, sir.
It wasn't yellow?
No, sir, it was solid red.
No, it was.
Yes. Do you have your license, insurance,
No,
and registration?
actually, we're not going to do that. So.
We're not gonna do that. Oh boy. Oh boy, we're not gonna do that. Well, that's starting off well, isn't it?
I see. Well, sorry to bother you, sir. Drive on. I mean, travel. Are we dealing with the soft shit here?
Sorry?
I don't know how to explain this to you, but I don't need to give you any identification.
I don't know how to explain this to you, but I don't need to give you identification. Okay then, sir.
You do realize you were face-palming while saying that? Are you actually aware of your stupidity? Also, police officers, please stop saying okay. Okay?
Yes, you do.
Owner stealing tips has existed. Yeah, owner stealing tips has been a thing forever.
Sir, we're not doing this.
There are some
But you see,
Kitchen
officer, he
Nightmares
already said
episodes about that.
You have to pull another card from the deck of dipshittery. Not sure if you heard that, but I just hit my hand and it hurts like hell. Amusingly,
did hear
someone's hand
that.
is gonna hit this man's face as well. Prepare yourself. It's gonna be funny.
Okay. I'm requesting for your driver's license.
For what? What crime was committed?
Illegal stupidity.
For what crime
What do you
was
mean that's not a
committed?
crime? Should be.
It should, I agree.
In the traffic enforcement.
What crime was committed, though?
You broke a traffic enforcement. You ran
No,
through a red light.
no. You didn't. Okay. Why do police have to use the wrong words? You didn't break a traffic enforcement. He broke a traffic. He committed a traffic violation. You are therefore enforcing the traffic statute. He did not break an enforcement. God damn it, police officer. Come on.
That's for CDL drivers. I don't know.
I'm sorry? Okay,
The
go
light
ahead and
was
step out for
yellow.
me.
I'm not stepping out of the vehicle.
Go ahead and step out.
Yes, you are.
That's not happening.
Sir?
Get out of
Rookie
the
mistake,
car.
soft shit. You opened your window. How are we gonna, have safe flight? Or the company over here in the Netherlands is called Car Glass. Basically, car glass repairs, car glass replaces. You know, that's their slogan.
Carglass repareert.
Yeah.
Carglass vervangt.
It's pretty catchy, actually.
I like
These
that.
car glass repair guys are in on this entire soft shittery. Conspiracy.
That's not happening. Take your hands off of me.
Step out for me.
I'm not stepping out. I got a dog here, too. Call for backup, bro.
I've got a fucking dog here, so that's why I'm gonna be an insane moron. Wow. Yes, let's put your dog at risk.
The fact that you have your dog in the car and decided to do this and call a female officer bro, those are 3 punishable offenses. You don't deserve that dog. You don't deserve that car. You don't deserve that bro officer. Why do people say bro?
I don't know.
Just don't understand why they
Or
make a fool
bruv.
of themselves.
What's with the
But then
word
again,
bruv?
here he is.
And fucking British people. Why do they put why is it bruv? What's a bruv? Is it because they say brother instead of brother? Is that what it is? It's actually short for brother. I can't even say it. I can't even say it the way they say it. Cause they say it wrong. What is
Among many.
Hey, step out.
I'm not getting out. You're not telling me what I'm doing.
Sir.
She told you multiple times.
Actually, she just told you. Also, don't call him a sir. Officers are too gentle ladylike.
They really are. If these people are gonna be this much of a douchebag, don't call them sir or ma'am. Just be like, get out of the car, asshole.
Is that a thing? Should be.
We're not doing this.
No, you damn straight we're not.
We're not doing this.
Get your hands
Where
off
are
of
you
me.
from, New
Get
York?
your hands off of me.
I'm telling
We're
you
not
one more
doing
time,
that.
Who do you think
Step
you are?
out.
Oh, I see. You haven't been properly introduced. So this is your arresting officer. Arresting officer, this is your soft shit. Enjoy.
Don't do that with the dog here.
You shut your fucking
Oh,
mouth.
what? With the
Don't-
dogs? We don't do that with the dog here. Dude, you're the one who caused it to happen with the dog here. And brah, yeah.
hide behind your dog like this to try and pull this shit.
Bruh!
You're such a weak little man. Imagine turning a simple ticket for a traffic violation into a full...
Or the people that do that stupid, like, machine gun noise. Like, like they think they're tough.
...blown arrest while endangering your own damn dog. You, Utter Dick Flute, are a walking, talking, punchable offense.
I agree.
Then don't do this.
Right?
You could also put my wordy bits like that. You can't imagine the disdain I have for this, whatever that is behind the wheel of the car. I think we can call it a coward. I mean, he is using his own dog as a meat shield, like the coward he is.
Literally.
Look at a good little doggy.
Don't hurt my dog!
Then you should take a hint from your own damn dog. The dog knows how to behave. Come to think of it. You didn't steal this dog, did you? There's no way in hell you would raise a dog like that, so well behaved. You petulant child.
Don't do this.
Have you dog napped that dog?
Don't do it with the dog here.
Step out.
What are you doing? I have a dog
out of the car. Get the out of the car.
Oh boy! Now we've got the cops saying, "Get the fuck out of the car." We've got F-bombs everywhere.
What are you doing?
Get out of the car.
Doggo!
Get your heel back.
On the ground.
Poor doggy.
See what I mean? The dog is actually barking at his stupid owner. But this is still endangering the dog.
The dog is like, hey, dumbass! You should have just sat here like me!
Dogs have been shot when an owner actually behaves like this, even though the dog didn't do anything. Why did you endanger your own... I don't understand these people. This one doesn't deserve a dog.
The dog just wants to get home and have a shit. Yep.
Protective of his owner. Deserve a dog. I mean, just imagine if this dog was more protective of his owner.
Yeah, that dog, like, this is the problem, is that owners do stupid shit. The dogs freak out because their owners are being lawfully arrested because they're doing stupid shit, and then the dog ends up getting shot because the dog thinks it's protecting its owner and goes to attack the officer.
I can understand why this dog isn't though. Look at that fool on the ground. Wait, does she have pink cuffs?
Pink
awesome.
cuffs?
Oh
Oh my god.
That's my dog.
Yeah, I can know that.
Hey, puppy. See, the officers don't want to hurt the dog.
Roll over here.
The officers don't want to hurt the dog.
Ah, look at the cute little doggy. That's a good doggo, checking on your owner, you know?
Aww.
I guess the old dog is the owner now.
Roll over to the other side.
You made a big mistake, buddy.
Yeah, that's fine.
I can't believe that. I can't believe you just punched me in the face.
Oh, but we can. Even the dog is on our side.
Yep. The dog's like, well, you know, he's a bit of an idiot.
And reaction, Mr. Goodman, why not furry ones? What? Goodman, pink handcuffs, Mr.
Pink handcuffs, why not furry ones? Good point, Mr. Goatman.
You're 100% right, I did. You pushed my hand off the freaking...
Stand up. Stand up.
You're 100% right, I punched you in the face.
You want to try and get the dog back in the car? Come on. Hey. Hey. Hold up. Hey, come here. Come on. Come here. Come on. Load up. Load up. Come on. Inside.
Oh, that guy's a canine officer. You can tell. He just used terminology for a canine officer. He just went, load up. You totally tell. That guy works with dogs.
Load up.
See? He just said it again. Load up.
Well, this is the first time I saw a bow wow door slam. Not that the officer actually slammed the door on the dog. The door slam is in celebration of the doggy doing a good job.
Have a seat.
And now we have the door slam of stupidity. Wait, I did that the wrong way around, didn't I?
Yep.
Door slam. Form of stupidity. You stupid dick flute.
Oh, Ragical.
Went through a solid red light. He's like, I don't know why you stopped me. Explained to him why I stopped him. Asked him for his driver's license. He's like, I don't have to give you my driver's license. Let's only proceed to yell. And then I told him to step out. He's not stepping out. Told him several times. He's still not stepping out. Went to lock his door. He's like, and then that's when I grabbed his hands.
Yeah, so and then I reach in. I go to try and open the door from the inside. He pushes my hands off. So he's Bob.
Probably. David.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
I'm listening.
I am giving you one opportunity to take care of your dog. Who can we call to get that dog?
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
I come from Massachusetts.
That's fine.
I've been down here for 2 years.
Okay.
I'm living inside my car.
Okay.
Okay? My girl and my baby live in another state. And I'm
Oh, wow.
paying for their rent and all their other okay?
Okay.
So I do not have anyone that I can call right now offhand. They can come get the dog.
Wow. So is she still your girl? Or did she kick you out and you're now paying for her shit because that's
Well,
the
maybe
right
that
thing
could
to
be
do?
a very valid reason to not act like an absolute moron. Instead, you opted in for the full menu. I mean, I know I kept calling him a soft shit. He didn't actually do any of the soft shit bingo stuff, but he acted like one, though.
He did.
Okay.
Actually, maybe I can call someone from work. I work at ABC over there.
Well, we're gonna call animal control. Okay. It's
Well,
gonna
can I call someone from work then?
How fast can they get here?
They live down the street.
Down the street?
Yeah.
Okay. Is your phone in the car?
Yep.
Okay.
I believe so.
Hold on a sec.
Sarge, you just take good pictures of him.
Okay.
I guess when you get to the jail or whatever. What's his major malfunction? Why do you do all that?
Well, his major malfunction is that he's got soft shit on the brain.
What's his major malfunction?
Well,
I can't believe they asked like that. What's your malfunctions?
I'm gonna write you a supplement for my use of force and stuff like that. Other than that, you should be good, right?
Yeah.
We call him animal control for the dog and.
See if we can call him right.
Okay. And then we're gonna.
Yeah, you don't mind.
That dog almost bit me when I walked over.
Officer, I find it highly unlikely. This
That
dog did not almost bite you.
bite you.
It doesn't come across like that, even when his owner was being, dragged to the ground.
No.
He wasn't showing any aggression, so hush it.
That dog did not almost bite
Just
you.
call animal control. Yeah, he had that axe right there. I was like, oh.
He's got an axe in there?
Right there.
An axe?
Right by the passenger. Or a hammer. Something.
Dude!
Right there.
Hello? An axe or a hammer? I have felt both tools. Neither of them look anything alike.
I submit to you that axe is the most dangerous thing in the entire car. Look at the doggo. It's not even barking. With all the commotion going on. And that sorry excuse for a man you just threw on the ground. I guess getting punched in the mouth thwarted his plans.
Nice.
That's why I was like trying to grab his hand. I'm like, because if he grabs that, we're done.
I just saw one of my. Thank God he didn't grab that hammer. Yeah, he had two hammers. And shot. He had a knife too in there. Yeah, he would have his head blown off. So this guy started fighting with you?
So what's the deal with animal control?
because the dog's a little bit aggressive.
So
No,
are
it's
you
not.
Just, you know, making up shit as you go along. I did not see any aggression in the dog.
How is that
Even when
dog
his owner was
aggressive?
struggling
It
with the
barked.
officers, all the dog did was bark, stay at a distance, and then sniff his butt. Not to mention
Pretty
voluntarily
much.
getting into the car because he got a few commands. After which he
It was-
did not
it
bark at
barked.
all, with all the commotion going on around the car. Shut your bloody mouth. Innocent until proven guilty. How very dare you tarnish the reputation of Doggo.
Oh, no, I'm saying, are they like... They're 10-8, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can turn that off now. We're just waiting for animal control and stuff. Okay.
That dog was not
Read your
aggressive.
rights, okay? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the. Do you understand the rights I have read to you?
Ah, damn it, I was almost ready to get my popcorn because I like it when you say that. Not in that way. You weirdo.
Yes, no, maybe.
Chick's a cat lover.
Sir. No?
No, he's just not
Do you
gonna
not wanna
talk. He's shut down. He's
There we
being
go.
a
He's a
child.
soft shit. He said the thing. He said the thing.
What you need?
There we have the door slam of running a red light, no proof of insurance, failure to display registration, and of course resisting with violence. Sadly, the future of the dog is not that certain because animal control. I don't like it when stupid people have dogs.
No.
Something is bound to happen. So in this case, let's enhance the arrest a little bit. I mean, I've got an intercontinental face punch projectile on its way.
An intercontinental face punch projectile.
Get out of the car!
And also time travel, apparently. Now remember to dig the bell and all things around it. And I will see you next time.
Oh, Ragical. That's too funny. That's too funny. Oh my god. I knew that would be a good one. Ragical always has good ones. Always has good videos for us to laugh at. Oh my goodness. So, Andrew Scheer was not the last leader, but the second last leader of the Conservative Party. And he also has a YouTube channel, and he has put out a video entitled Trudeau Says Life Sucks, So What Happened? And he put this out a day ago. So I figured we would take a gander at his video and see what he has to say.
So the other day, my kids asked if I would take them sledding. We weren't on that hill for more than a few minutes, me carrying up those sleds and toboggans, and I got winded so quickly. We got to the top, and I thought I was about to cough out a lung.
Yeah, because that's what it's like being a parent, Andrew. That's how it is. Your kids are like, let's go sledding, and then they're like, can you bring the sled up the hill? Can you also pull me up the sled
It's not that tall of a hill, it being in Saskatchewan. So instantly my mind went to the thought of what could possibly be the cause of this. My first thought was, did I catch a bug that's going around? I thought maybe I have the wrong footwear on. Maybe if I had to put boots on, it would have been easier to climb the hill. I even had that weird passing thought of, is there some kind of gravity well buried underneath this hill?
No. No, the fuck you didn't, Andrew. No, you didn't. You did not. I don't believe you
And
for
then
a
the thought
second.
occurred to me. It's 40 years of not taking care of myself. I even laughed for a split second at how instantly my first thought was to try to find something else to blame. And you probably see this all the time with yourself, your loved ones. How many times has someone in your family knocked a glass off the counter and then said, who put this so close to the edge? And it got me thinking, the vast majority of people, while we might have those thoughts for an instant or a second, we also have a healthy dose of responsibility. And we look at how our own actions led to the negative outcome, the glass shattering or being out of breath at the top of the hill.
That's okay. I like that analogy. I wasn't sure where he was going with this at first. But I like that analogy. I like how we all as humans, our first instinct really is to look for the blame for something else. Why does he have to have such cringy fucking music? I don't know. I don't know why he has to have such cringy fucking music. Maybe he thinks he's an actual YouTuber.
But some people don't. Some people never take responsibility for their own actions, and they always try to find someone else to blame for all the negative consequences. And Justin Trudeau is one of those people. Let me explain.
A major development now from the Global News Decision Desk. Canada's new Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, with his wife, Sophie.
This is Canada, and in Canada, better is always possible.
Better is always possible! What the fuck is that voice? What the fuck? What the fuck is that voice? Oh my god!
For Canadians, yeah, grocery bills suck. Rent sucks. Mortgage renegotiation, oh my god, how are we going to deal with it? Like, these are real fears.
After 8 years of this guy, a lot of things suck in Canada. But here's what Justin Trudeau's doing. He's
Nothing.
trying to convince you that the reason why housing sucks, inflation sucks, interest rates suck, are all because of factors beyond his control.
And it's all because it's all because of factors beyond his control, and it's because the Conservatives won't do what he says. Even though with the NDP in the bloc they can do basically whatever they want. It's nobody else's, it's somebody else's fault. He should have 70s porn music in the background. He was trying to force his balls to drop.
He's some passive observer of all these global phenomena that's driving up your prices and making your communities less safe. If I can just pause here for one quick second, please like and subscribe to my channel. That way you won't miss out on any videos in the future.
Wait.
Let's take a look.
You don't need anybody to like. You're a fucking politician.
Subscribe to my channel. That way you won't miss out on any videos in the future. Let's take a look at just 3 examples that Trudeau himself admits suck. Inflation. The reason why your paycheck doesn't buy as much stuff is because Justin Trudeau devalued our dollar.
Yep. You'll forgive me if I don't think about monetary policy.
More dollars chasing fewer goods.
Yes, that is a thing that he actually said. You'll forgive me if I don't think about monetary policy.
It's always equals inflation. But instantly, Trudeau, the liberal propaganda machine, including the CBC, went into overdrive to try to convince you it wasn't Trudeau's fault.
The reasons for higher prices are getting more complicated.
The labor market and inflation are acting in a way that we've never really seen before.
But indeed, Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of factors that deliver higher food prices, not just for Canadians, for people around the world. And one of the key ones is Russia's continued illegal invasion of Ukraine.
Yes, because as I Googled last week, the largest dollar amount that we spend on wheat from the Ukraine is $176,000 a year. That's it. That's the highest number amount.
Speaker.
It was global supply chain issues, or a war in a country that Canada does less than 1% of our trade with. Baloney. It was because of Trudeau's own policies, his own monetary policy, turning to the Bank of Canada to bankroll his out-of-control and wasteful spending. Just think about the $35 billion to the Canada Infrastructure Bank, $60 million on the Arrive Scam app, or the hundreds of millions of dollars paid to high-priced consultants for work that the public service is already doing.
Right, exactly. They could have had, there is an entire IT department full of public servants that help with the CRA operation, that help with a whole bunch of shit. They could have contracted a couple of IT guys from that department to code and develop the Arrive Can app for literally a fraction, like a tiny fraction of the amount that they contracted out for.
There's a direct link between Trudeau's policies and the inflation and interest rates that's causing so much hardship. But what is Justin Trudeau doing? He's still looking for a scapegoat.
But
it's
Canada
also pretty
was once
amazing
called
at how
the
much help
breadbasket
he
of
gets
the
from
world.
his
Yep.
friends in the media.
It
The
was.
latest attempt to try to shift attention
absolutely
from
was.
Justin Trudeau's role in all of this is the conversation around shrinkflation.
Pepper Brooks was upset when she discovered the new bottle of Dawn she bought contained 10% less dish soap than an older bottle in her cupboard.
And it cost the same amount of money.
It's true. When you go to the grocery store, you get less for your money.
Yep.
What's actually happening with shrinkflation is that the dollar you earned doesn't buy as much. That's it. That's all you need to know. Justin Trudeau has devalued your currency, the money you get paid, the money that you've saved up. He's made it worth less.
I was explaining that to my kids the other day. I'm like, okay, we got to budget things out here. I got $98 left. And they're like, $98? That's a lot of money. And I'm like, yeah, it was a lot of money. It's not anymore. It buys less stuff.
So that when you go to the store, you can buy less with it. They're even talking about bringing in new regulations to try to prevent companies from doing this.
Shrinkflation is not helpful for consumers. It's not fair. It needs to be regulated,
I am
and it
almost
needs to be
done
regulated
the
now.
stream, Costa.
What they're
You
not
caught me
talking
just
about is
in the
how
last
it was
last
Trudeau's
few minutes.
policies that made your paycheck worth less.
Yeah.
The carbon tax is also a major driver in inflation. Experts across the country agree that Trudeau's carbon tax is a major factor in driving up prices. And not
Yeah,
only
but
is
you
Justin
can't-
Trudeau
you can't
refusing
say that.
to acknowledge
Those
that and get rid
experts
of it,
don't exist,
he's actually
apparently.
going ahead with his plan to hike it.
There will absolutely not be any other carve-outs or suspensions of the price on pollution.
Government policy with direct connection to terrible outcome. It's like Justin Trudeau got to the top of the hill, completely out of breath, and now desperately trying to blame something else. Housing. Another thing that even Justin Trudeau admits sucks in Canada. How did we get here? Did all of a sudden magical forces in Canada's economy just converge on the housing sector and cause all kinds of problems?
Nope.
No. Justin Trudeau's inflationary policies also bid up the price of homes.
Then also the allowance of foreign investment to come in, buy a bunch of property, and leave it empty. Let's see. The grocery store the other day, bottles of Kraft salad dressing, all $3.99. All old bottles 475 milliliters, new bottles 425. Yeah, 50 milliliters less for the same price.
Easy cash flooding through the system meant housing prices go up. And then there's the fact that Trudeau's housing minister, Sean Fraser, admits that the previous immigration minister helped cause the housing crisis by not managing the immigration file properly.
Yeah, he would allow foreign investments to come in, buy up houses, leave the country, go back to their country, leave the what's it called? Leave the properties empty, and there's nobody here to occupy the houses. That costs more. Yep, it does.
Or in particular the international student program. And this is where we have a serious issue that we need to address and are working to address now. The international student program in particular has grown just in the last couple of years by hundreds of thousands of people each year.
Yes.
Hey, Kelly, do a quick Google search there. Who was the previous Liberal immigration minister?
Sean Fraser.
It was Sean Fraser. That's right. Sean Fraser is actually blaming a previous iteration of himself.
Did he forget he was the immigration minister? Oh my god. Oh my god. A lot of Chinese want to hide their money from the CCP. Yeah, they can't do it here. Sorry. Let's not forget all the bullshit stress test and the bullshit mortgage requirement changes that nobody talks about anymore. Where if you qualified for 5%, but your stress test would not qualify you for 7%, you do not get the mortgage. Yep. That's true. Those bullshit requirements. Maybe y'all should vote out the bastard and his entire regime. Oh, that's what we're trying to do right now. This video is by the former leader of the Conservative Party. He is also currently still serving in the parliament as a member of the Conservatives. And the Conservatives right now are desperately trying to win over some less what's it called? Tribal members of the parties that are bolstering the Liberal Party, because the Liberal Party is a minority government right now, and they're being propped up by the New Democrats and the Bloc Québécois.
But not taking any responsibility for it. This is bizarro liberal deflection and
really
lack
is.
of accountability.
It's crazy.
This is another direct line between Justin Trudeau's policies and deliberate decisions and terrible outcomes for Canadians.
What police call a targeted attack on a transit bus in the Metro Vancouver area.
He ended up stabbing me right in my rib. I didn't know it was a stab at first. It just felt really warm and my breath cut really short.
It would actually be borderline criminal to just say that crime sucks in Canada right now.
It would. That would be an incredible understatement. Canada's crime rate has absolutely skyrocketed across the country. It used to be that there were certain cities in Canada you could call out, like Winnipeg, for example. But it's way, way worse. How do you remember what position you previously held when the Prime Minister plays shuffleboard at every challenge? That's true. That is true. It is very hard to keep track of what portfolio you held when.
It's awful. Tragic stories of people being murdered on public transportation.
Yep.
Or families having multiple cars stolen out of their driveway.
Their houses broken
on the same
into.
day. This is life after 8 years of Justin Trudeau. Take a look at all the major crime stats. Car thefts through the roof. Extortion at levels we've never seen before in Canada.
Yep.
Drug addiction, overdose deaths, all directly linked.
Tainted drugs. Like the amount of people that are in those overdose deaths that have taken a drug that they've taken for years, right? And then this particular time it was cut with something that it's never been fucking cut with.
Policy decisions. And Justin Trudeau and the liberal-friendly media in Canada would have you believe that crime is just kind of like the weather. Like, oh, there's an unseasonable warm front moving in, and we don't know how long it'll last. It's directly linked to...
And also, no confidence votes are garbage when there's a coalition government. It is true. Americans don't understand the concept of a coalition government because they have two parties that fail at everything. Facts!
To his policies.
Facts.
When he took office 8 years ago, he started repealing common sense conservative laws that contained tough jail time for repeat and dangerous offenders. And he made it easier to get bail. He actually passed a law that instructs judges to grant bail in as many cases as they possibly can.
Yeah,
That's
literally
why
grant
repeat
bail.
and dangerous offenders are
there's
back on
like
the
a bail
streets,
quota.
committing more and more crimes. It's a cause and an effect. Softer penalties on criminals, you get more crime. But let's come back to that original thought. Of course, there is an understandable and natural inclination to try to find someone else to blame when something goes sideways. But responsible, rational people will take responsibility for their own actions. Now,
generally, yes. And it is very difficult to take responsibility for bringing an entire country to its knees, but at some point you're going to have to do it.
It's not surprising that Justin Trudeau doesn't want to do that, because if he takes responsibility, you might not vote for him again. And he's desperate to cling on to power so he can continue implementing his extreme and radical position. So there's really only two possibilities to explain why Trudeau's doubling down on all these policies that cause so much hardship. The first is that he's so clueless and incompetent that he doesn't realize that it's the decisions he's made that's caused all these problems.
I don't think so. I don't think that that's... I understand where he's going here. He's laying out these... He's the only good commie is a dead commie. He will never... Like, I don't think he's clueless. I think he's evil.
Now, that's pretty scary. To think that Canada, a developed G7 country, is led by someone who is so incompetent that he can't even follow the simple logic between the cause and the effects is actually horrifying. He thinks that nothing's his fault and everything's an external or magical force that he can't be responsible for.
I don't think that he's entirely incompetent. I think he is narcissistic. I think he is a megalomaniac. I think he saw an opportunity to become a powerful politician and he took it. I think he always had an ambitious streak in him. I hate to say it, but when Michel Trudeau died, I think that was the good brother that passed away in that skiing accident. I don't think it... I think Michel was the scrupulous integrity holding Trudeau brother, and he passed away in the skiing accident.
Or the other possibility is that this was all intentional, that he knew what the outcomes of his policies would be, and he actually wants Canada to be more divided, to be less safe, to have more and more people struggling. Because when more and more Canadians face more and more hardship, it's easier to sell them bigger government. It's easier to convince them that they need more and more government control of their lives, intervention in the economy, and bigger programs.
That's true. Like, he's forced this sort of dependence on the government. And unless we wake up and demand austerity with reason, I'm not just saying austerity across the board without any rationality, but rational austerity needs to happen. Last chance to get your monthly games from PlayStation Plus. Well, there's nothing good today.
These are the outcomes of the policies that he believes in. His radical, extreme ideology is why he printed massive amounts of money, is why he rewards local gatekeepers, is why he lets dangerous criminals back out onto the streets. When you look at radical Marxist leaders like Justin Trudeau in other countries, in other periods of time, they actually do this on purpose to create dependency on government to justify more and more spending.
Why weren't you this fucking outspoken and definitive when you were leader, Mr. Scheer? Why were you so moderate when you were leader?
Bigger government and more control.
Where the fuck was this talk
now, regardless
when you were
of
leader?
Which explanation it is, whether it's monumental incompetence or a horrifying agenda to justify his government overreach and to keep him in power, the solution is the same. Under Pierre Poilievre, conservatives will axe the tax, eliminate the carbon tax so prices can come down and you have more in your pocket at the end of the week. We're gonna fix the budget to bring inflation and interest rates back down. We're gonna build the homes, incentivize municipalities to build so home prices can come down and young people can start their lives. And we're going to stop the crime by taking the criminals who commit the crimes off the streets. That's the way to make Canada stop. I was gonna say stop second. Yeah.
Bernard, where do you pick up words like that?
Yeah, Mo, that team sure did suck last night. They just plain sucked. I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
Homer, watch your mouth.
And as always, thanks for watching.
I have to say, I like the use of Simpsons quotes by Andrew Scheer. I do like it. I do like it. I have to say that is well done. But I am frustrated that he wasn't this outspoken and definitive as he is right now as a leader. I guess he just works better as a sidekick. Maybe, I don't know. But that's that. That is his take on Trudeau, and I think that it's accurate. This is a very Marxist way of conducting government. And this is an incredibly dangerous way of conducting government. And all we can keep pushing for is for the Conservatives to be elected in the next election. Our election cycle usually takes 3 elections to get out a person. And this will be the 3rd election. So, hopefully this will be our time. But that's going to bring us to the end of the coffee stream. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be back tonight on Twitch only for some MK, so come and hang out with me then. Make sure you're following and have your notifications turned on so that you get notified, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your Tuesday, and I will see you later. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye, everybody.